Not long.
The pinnacle of human perspective.
Welcome to Unbiased and On the Fence. I'm Shane. Thank you all so much for joining. It's the Friday Night Love stream, and we are trying out a new system tonight. Hopefully, it will work better because in the past I could take one call at a time, and there was some downtime, and I didn't know who was waiting to talk. So now we have this new system. You can call the number on the screen, and there's actually additional numbers in the description box, so people can call in from Canada or the United Kingdom or Australia. It's just find your country down there. If you have an issue with data on your phone, you can just listen in from there, and it works like a phone call rather than data. If you have any problems using the phone service, you can actually go to the website. The account is free to set up if you want to talk. And that address is also below. That's www.talkshoe.com/show/love stream. When you call into that number, you will want to enter the show ID that's on the screen, 1477973. And without further ado, I do want to introduce our first caller. Now, I had an opportunity to meet Okanim in Sedona. He was the gentleman we were talking about doing sort of this interesting, it looked like martial arts, sort of to me. I was mainly looking at the sky, so I didn't really get to check it out like some other people. I was so riveted to the screen of the sky, looking for craft or looking for shooting stars and things like that. But I do want to welcome Okanim to the program. How are you doing today?
Good, thank you. Welcome to all of you as well. Pleasure to have you, and thank you for having me on the show.
Oh, no, that's no problem, man. And I think in your language it's biak. Is that right?
Biak nim.
Biakanim.
Biak nim. Biak means greeting, hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, goodbye, hello. And nim, N-Y-M. It means hustling, biak hustling. So it can be welcome hustling, good afternoon hustling. Well, that's what it means. Nim, N-Y-M.
And what language is that?
This language is actually originated from where I come from. It's the language is called Nimarek. N-Y-M-A-R-E-K. Nimarek. And Nimarek is a language that I speak since I'm 3 years old fluently. It's a non-earthling language, pure alien, this external entity language.
Oh wow, that's awesome, man.
This is where I'm from.
So all right, so let's before we get to the interesting, the time in Sedona was interesting, but what you just said just sparked off a whole nother slew of interest. So tell me about your background, whatever you're willing to share, no pressure.
The background, it's actually the now, right? As a time is an illusion.
Yeah.
Okay, my real age is actually 4,007 years old, 44 on this body, on the planet Earth.
Me too.
The family that has been incarnated to in France is actually a family that has been widely chosen among four for the family before coming into the planet Earth. And my father's and mother was absent to even exist at that moment of the scan.
Mm-hmm.
So exploring this planet for on our side before my creation was more than 10,000 years. Now, the reason we came here is to introduce the the language of the distinction between the brain language and the consciousness language, because it creates an alteration of how the planet is interacting through language. We discovered that in fact there's a dissonance. So that's a parenthesis. That's one of the part we can hear and I can hear, because
Ah.
it begin to disturb the solar system. And we are not close. We are close to you as well. We are around 800 light years away. 800 light years away from here, behind the constellation of the Phoenix,
Huh.
and in a different parallel universe within this universe.
Right.
Now, after having chosen the family, then I incarnate in France in this family. Shield, a shield has been created around my mother. Otherwise, she would have actually absent to sustain the frequency, and she has informed many moments that she was feeling extremely weird at the birth and for a few weeks after that. So we created a holographic devices to sustain that. And now, at the age of 3 years old, I actually begin to retrieve information, because you're not really transferring information through your consciousness when you incarnate into a new body. So
Hmm.
my consciousness has been transferred from where from through different tube and a certain speed and a certain devices. That is actually one of the devices that you have experienced at the Sedona spaceship landing during your stay
Mm-hmm.
here, and that we call it the RODEC, RODEK. And then we can discuss that later, you like. So through the tube, through this device, then you transfer the consciousness, and then you actually create what you can call it here on this planet a virtual hard drive, where you can retrieve the information very close to the planet Earth. So like that, after 3 years old, I start to retrieve all the information and the full awareness of what I am. However, yes, shocking point for my family to discover that I was actually not quite a regular human being. So I
Oh,
have
so they
to
didn't
sit
know you coming in until
no,
later on.
absolutely absent, correct. And I had to go to a very different schools that is not regular school, and in a very advanced different form. And of course, as a skill, I was already reading a mind of people at 9 years old. I can also have access directly to the cells of the human beings without microscope and without the use of any microscope. Beside that, I have also the skill and the quality to recognize the holographic DNA, as well the emotional spheres that is around the holographic DNA, what the people call it chakra. On
Mm-hmm.
our side, the chakra is a little bit obsolete for a certain reason, because it's more from books. However, the spheres are the representation of your emotions. All emotions are impulse to you, to your body, and you reflect as your language, the vibration, the echo from it. You never speak actually.
Hmm.
So all this awareness, and for 30 years until now, more than 30 years, I've been working on recalibrating and giving knowledge of the what we know where I come from, and the
Now,
recalibration of the genetic and holographic DNA.
now, when you talk about the virtual hard drive that's out there, is that the Akashic records, or is this different?
It's very different. It's actually completely different. It's a space
Mm-hmm.
where you actually have another Rodec, and all information are not a physical language expressed it here, or a vibration language. It's the language where I'm from. It's symbol. It's actually through symbols, and those symbols, they mean long, long sentences. So you have to retranslate into a proper language, and then from that proper language, you have to retranslate to the basic human being language, whatever it is, English or Italian or any kind. So
Right.
because as you can see in the movie Arrival, they actually speak a symbol language. So we are in a kind of same similarity, and it's very similar.
Mm-hmm.
And it would take years and years, like in the movie, for human beings to really generate a translator from our language to really even resonate a little bit, at least one or two sentences. Our language is categorized different aspects. So, for example, emotions, then all the terminology that is actually integrated into emotion, it's only one symbol.
Mm. So let
And
me.
then you you construct with a symbol, you construct sentences. However, we absent to have verbs in the terms of the way they practice here. Past, future, and the present. It's only one for us. Mm-hmm. Time is an illusion. So now is the future. Future is now. We are recording this situation and this interaction right now. However, you're already in the now, and right. The people who are coming, it's already in the now. Even it was already a few seconds past from that happened. So you're absent to past. You're just exploring as they discover it. Like a movie, it's already done. You buy the ticket and you go to see it, but it's already done.
Ah, okay. Just to recap or summarize for people that's sort of trickling in here late because people are coming in by the minute, but I wanted to clarify. So you actually came in, you started to realize that you were more than just a regular human child at the age of around 3, or your parents did, and you started getting a download of your, I guess, your past beyond this life, right? The information?
The information is retrieved right away. Yes, it's connected. There is a tube that when you're born, you actually retrieve right away. It's already on it. You can call it program, but it's not really quite program. It's coded. And at the birth and the nascency, at certain regulation age, when the gravity starts to be more stable. Uh-huh. So around the beginning of the communication of a human beings, which is the physical communication in terms of the brain stabilization, you can access it. Is the pineal gland. The pineal gland. Oh, so okay. The pineal gland is more mature a little bit at that age. Mm-hmm. Before it's a bit less fragile, and then you can retrieve it through the code. You can retrieve your own. So that's what it is. People can retrieve that later as to their wake depends.
Okay, so it's almost like it's there, but the person has to discover it. Because I felt like that a little bit with myself. Like I'm on a path of remembering rather than of learning a lot of things that come to me. It seems like it's just the knowing that I'm remembering rather than something new I'm learning.
Yes, it requires some attitude. When I say some attitude, it requires a space, mm-hmm. an environment, for the person through the awakening to actually be in a certain frequency. Mm-hmm. Remember, everything goes through different frequency, and as you access to that frequency, then you begin to remember. In fact, it's absent to remember. Is already there. You just connect to that path. You just connect to that frequency. So it's like a 2 antenna. One is on the left, one is on the right. They are merging a frequency and they connect like 2 magnets because they have the same frequency. Oh. So it's absent to remember. You're already in it. So instead of to be on the, I would say very, very simply, instead of to be on the less frequency, 101, you actually tune into 120. And 120 is the match for where you actually have your information. Then when you're on 120 matching, then you discover more and more and more as you're evolving. And the more you actually allow yourself to evolve, then you actually discover more. However, it was already there, and it always been there, is the access to it. Mm. And one main element which disturbs the access is the functioning of the brain by questioning. As long as on this planet the people will delete the questioning and the approach of questioning, and I'm aware it's absent to be their fault, is the fact that they never learn and never discover other way because of the system is on this planet, indoctrination and commanding system. So the less you question, the less doubt frequency you create, the more you can access to your frequency and your access to your consciousness that way.
That's good because since I've been going through this whole awakening process, for me it's been learning to distinguish the left brain, the left hemisphere of the brain from the right, and sort of overanalyzing things. We have this tendency, the left side's like the ego, the separateness, the me part of our brain, and also the analytical part of our brain, where we question, we doubt, we don't see the magic in life because that doesn't make sense. That's not possible. And there's a lot of limitations when it comes to the left brain. But then the right part of your brain is that that limitless part of your brain that connects you to everyone. And it sounds like what you're explaining is exactly this path I've been going down with trying to find that balance. Of course, you have to take care of yourself, but you have to remove the limitations that indoctrination, like you mentioned, put on us, and realize our true potential, which most of the powers that be or that word don't want us to realize that potential.
Correct. One here. The thing is, human beings are diminishing themselves from their own quality, and what you call it, the right side of the brain, and also the left side, which prevents the existence or the knowledge or to interact with the freedom because of the questioning side. In fact, everything go through your pineal gland. The
Mm-hmm.
pineal gland is your heartbeat. It never been your heart. The heart is just the pump engine. It's a pump engine to circulate the blood for your body to sustain on this gravity.
Mm-hmm.
The heartbeat that access to your consciousness and go through your information and translate into English or any other language. It's actually through the pineal gland. Now, the nerve system, when you actually function too much on question, you create constant doubt, and then you create an ego directly and indirectly. However, is stimulated by seizing also the access to the pineal gland. Once you access to your pineal gland, by actually recalibrating your language at the baby step for the human beings and for any human beings to actually evolve into their process, it's the allowance for the pineal gland to breathe
Mm-hmm.
in and breathe out. And the limitation is interesting the word you pronounce, because in fact, by observing instead of looking is the eyes. Observing is from the consciousness. By observing,
Mm-hmm.
you actually engender and create a space for you to observe that the universe is infinite. Did a very simple aspect I'm exposing to many humankind for years. Do you sense Mars question itself, or any other constellation they question themselves the way they have to, or they are actually evolving? Never. Take a spaceship and go visit any constellation with the device that is comfortable for you to travel.
Right.
Then question is absent. Then limitation is non-existent because you're exploring. So the more you explore, the more you emancipate your culture, your cultivation, and also your discovery. And then you retrieve the information like that, or you're sharing the information this way through the pineal gland, and then you can write it down on the paper as well. So the people call it channeling.
Mm-hmm.
So that way you actually exist more and you're more sustainable. Now, of course, the efficiency of the way to taking care of your body on this planet as a major aspect to avoid to diminish the quality and the virtue of the pineal gland.
That's beautiful. Yeah, man, you just put a different view in my mind of that. That's really quite fitting. About you imagine the planets, the planetary bodies, and the galaxy in general, and everything's the constellations are all moving, and they never question anything. And when I look back, I've done a lot of questioning, but I've still been on this path that I'm on that's led me to this now moment, which I know is right where I'm supposed to be. And I don't know, it's just been a journey of experience that I can't really say that there's been mistakes, because even the things that I would deem mistakes have made me who I am today. And I wouldn't have learned those lessons of life and had those experiences if those were stepping stones, if you will, to where I am today. So that kind of leads me to where we were on the rock out in Sedona. We had the group meditation. That was beautiful. And then
Yes.
you kind of went off on your own, and you were doing these physical movements along with this language to accompany it. Now, it was super dark out there. It was just basically the stars and the moon. So, and like I said, I was really focused on the sky, but you were overdoing a some type of I don't know what how would you call that, a ritual or what was it?
And also on our side, what you have explored and observed, it's actually an activation of the Rodek.
The
So
Rodek. You
by
said it's
activity,
RODEK Rodek.
correct, it's
Okay.
an holographic device. We
hmm
actually came with it here. However, we never create the Rodek. It has been given to us as a gift,
hmm
and the Rodek is actually a device that comes from the origin of the origin of the origin of the origin of beyond the 0 point as well,
Oh.
which is the heartbeat system of the creation of each matters. The
Oh.
mother liquid, the mother and the baby of the liquid, the organic, the wave frequency, the frequency, the sound, the botanic, the electric, the atom, the photon, the proton, all family matters has been created from the origin of this device, Rodek. So
And there's two
that's
ends to it,
why
right? There's like the one that was present with you while you were doing this holographic Rodek on this end, and then it's like connected to, you're saying, to the 0 point on the other end, sort of like walkie
and
talkies or something.
also you allow you to access to that. You have a two different access. I mean, there is a many access for people according to their choice and their life experience.
hmm
On our hand, from where we're from, we give for free the access to have one device to connect from the pineal gland like an antenna and to connect to different location of universe, because there is a holographic tube like you can tune in and you have access to the information, because the 0 point allow to have access to information to anyone who decides to really connect.
hmm
However, the Rodec itself, it's another device where you can actually travel, or you can also shift the matters such as the weather. You can also shift ambiances, and you can also recalibrate ambiances or cells of the human body and human beings. So what happened at the spaceship landing? What happened, and it was interesting, is the activation of the Rodec have a credit what's it call it um, a different reality
hmm
for anyone, a different reality. And actually it was a gift given, because everybody who was experienced a trigger the next day, it
hmm
was actually means that they were holding too much what they have directly and indirectly refuse or delicately deny or put on the side, express themselves to avoid, and then he suddenly awake for them to actually feel different and release their life differently to discover a new way. So the gesture that you were saying me, were moving around, sensing, dancing, kind of, is actually the interaction with the Rodec to move cells
hmm
holographically around the environment, and also create different symbols along the activation of the Rodec for the sky to be more an embracement. So that's why suddenly you have seen more shooting stars
Yeah.
that were coming more after the effect of the Rodec, because you create a space real. Uh, Anyone who has watched the movie Contact,
hmm
the device that is in the movie Contact is actually the same system like the Rodec does. It sustains a gravity by also interacting and moving the mass around.
Wow. Now there's a couple of ladies right next to me. On
Yes.
just so you guys know, Spaceship Landing is the area that's the rock that we were on in Sedona. That's what they call it. So it wasn't, we weren't on a spaceship. It's just a place that is known to have sightings and things like that. So just to be clear to those who might just be tuning in and they don't know. But okay, so there's a couple of ladies next to me, and they saw what looked to be like, I don't know, your higher self or an angelic figure sort of moving along with you. My eyes couldn't adjust. I tried to take a picture of it, and it looked like I caught like an orb or something in it. But my doubting mind. I don't know if I was really picking something up. I wish I could go back to that night and re-examine the image along with what I was seeing with my my eyes to see if I was just catching a light in the distance or something. But yeah, they were seeing like a figure sort of moving along with you. And I think you were explaining to them what that was, right?
Yes, what they have seen is actually the allowance or the discovery, the way I look like,
Mm-hmm.
where I'm from. Where I look like, where I'm from is a non-physical shape, like the human beings or any avatar we look like. It's made of crystals, and it's very tall. It's about 7 meters. So
Oh wow.
it's I'm unaware how many feet. I'm sorry for that.
Yeah, that's quite a few.
Translation.
Like
So
three
it's
feet per meter, so that's quite a size. Yeah.
correct. Yes, correct. So yeah, about 22, 23 feet,
Right.
something like that. Yeah. So because I said 9 feet is 3 meters, so that's already time to it's yeah 22, 23 feet.
Mm-hmm.
So 26, 23 feet of crystals, special crystals, not the crystal that you have on Earth.
Right.
And yes, and that is actually glowing in a purple and a very light blue representation because the planet I'm from is a blue and purple. Uh, so
That's
it's
nice.
they have seen the representation. Now, camera such as a cell phone camera are actually have a different sensitivity than a real lens. I
Yeah.
mean a different lens, sorry,
Yeah.
such as what the professional here on this night mentioned. They can capture much more detail than the sensitivity on the cell phone
Right.
on the smartphone they put. So what you have you on your footage or you're shooting, you might have just experienced some kind of a colorization or orbs or things like that, which is actually just a sense light effect.
Mm-hmm.
However, to really capture really the way I really kind of look like, welcome to have a more professional camera, I would say.
Yeah. I definitely want to get one now. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Is that the
So
same
usually
one to
the
look at auras that people use? I forgot what they call them, but
it's a more welcome to have a, for example, a Canon 80D, 880D as a dog,
mm-hmm.
or the equivalent with Nikon, and they can have actually have the night shift set up in the camera,
Mm-hmm.
and they can use either 10-55 or 55-300 lens, and they will capture a sensitivity like that. So
Oh, nice.
yes, yes, and we also propose to people to experience the raw deck themselves through guidance, and that guidance is actually free. I mean, we guide them to the way to really experience the raw deck for themselves, the way it feels. However, it's more welcome that before they experience the raw deck, anyone on this planet is to delete the fear. Fear is an illusion and a doubt. So this is welcome to practice and or to exercise or to experience without any doubt. As soon as you have a doubt, you're gonna have a damage on your DNA. It's guaranteed.
Uh, so now
Yep.
is this similar to when we follow our intuition? Is this the same process, or is this?
Correct.
Oh, it is the
Yes,
same.
exactly. It's a kind of the same process preparation. Welcome
Okay.
to prepare yourself. Unnecessary to meditate for hours and hours. It's more to be in a space, first of all, without electronic devices,
Mm-hmm.
which mean that without a phone, without having computer. Welcome to be. It can be in a park. It can be in water. For example, the location we've been is actually fantastic because it's in the middle of vortexes, which on top of that amplify the effect of the deck as well. Accompany there is an accompaniment from the vortex to the effect of the vortex in Sedona with the Rodec. So as long as the fear is absent or questioning what it is, how, what, and more intuitively, as you say, emotionally to explore, and
Mm-hmm.
then what anything the person will explore is what it is. Whatever you create is what it is.
Uh, that's really interesting. So you say you actually teach this? Do you have? I know you actually do a retreat or something where you help people with
And
this.
also Well, we are going to right now, after so many years, we are going to invite people through the. Well, yes, the people we mentioned the word retreat.
Hmm.
We call it exploration of consciousness language,
I like
and
that.
we do. Yeah, we do that. It's a week, and we take between 8 and 11 people, and we have a location here in Sedona, and we are also going to do it in Hawaii, and it's all included. And the each morning, people will have an introduction of what is language, what is brain language, what is consciousness language, what is the interaction, what is the distinction between their language and the consciousness language. They will discover what they really are instead of who is the brain, what is the consciousness.
Hmm.
What you are is the consciousness, who you are is the brain. So your birth name is different than your consciousness name. You discover that through your awakening, and of course they're going to experience the Rodek. Yes, indeed. However, beside that, people can really interact with us, and then we can actually, with a pleasure, to really explain what is Rodek, and we can also connect all of with many people, regardless the location, at certain clock on a certain moment, with an agreement.
Hmm.
And the dictation say, okay, we're going to do a road deck at 6 p.m. And then you can share what happened after that.
Ah, okay. So not only
So,
can
for
you
example,
connect, not only can you connect from here to other places in the universe, you can connect from one person here on the planet, from the Rodec, to another person somewhere else on the planet. Is that correct?
correct,
Ah, I see.
correct, as well. So, for instance, right now you have a person in England, one person in Australia, one person, I know in Australia it's different clock, eh?
Hmm.
In Australia or in Japan or in many in United States, and they coordinate and say, okay, 6 p.m. Okay, my clock is gonna be 4 p.m., 4 a.m., 3 a.m. We all connect, and then everybody does the Rodex, so they all connected. So it's like you have a many devices, like in the movie Contact, and they all connected together.
Yeah.
And when they connect through the proper way to connect, through the guidance, then everybody can later on, through what you're doing, or a show or anything, they can actually share their own experience, and they will evolve. Anyone will evolve, regardless. That's for sure.
That's nice. It almost sounds like what's really happening when we come together for these intention gatherings on Saturday. We call it the Power of Eight, where we come together and we focus our intention on something. Sounds like we're using the same mechanism. We just didn't have the information of the what's actually happening behind the scenes, the nuts and bolts of it, if you will.
Yes, also the information you have it is just a moment of, due to the way each people are living on this planet,
Yeah.
they actually reach a certain frequency, and when they reach a certain frequency, eh, they sense they reach a limit and say, "Wow, more welcome for me to know more." So when they reach a certain frequency, they actually come in place and encounter with us, and
Hmm.
then we give a jump. We give a jump and say, "Hey, now you can jump," and another boost, another accompaniment.
Oh, nice. That's really nice because we're actually, for those who hadn't heard, we're getting together on New Year's, and I think it's powerful because there's a lot of. I know when I was heavy into religion, we would have prayer meetings and pray the new year in, and
Mm-hmm.
as we get together and we use our meditations and prayers
Yeah.
to pray in the new year, we're actually connecting with our brothers and sisters, even of the different religious faiths, to combine our power of intention to make the world a better place, more peaceful, more loving, and all of that. So even if they're of different persuasions or religious beliefs, we are still combining because the humans here on Earth right now are still family, whether they want to fight and divide or whatever. Anyway, we're still one. So we're like combining. So do you see yourself as like a star seed or a light worker, or how do you think of it? Are you familiar with those terms?
I'm familiar. However, on our side, we never really quite categorizing things because it's actually and directly, and excuse me, apologize for that terminology, ego.
Yeah,
Uh,
I agree. Yeah.
so It's an ego. It's an ego. So my name, Okani, means guidance of language. So that's what it means. So it's logical. However, we are just different. So we actually introduce also to the humankind to accept that everything is different, or to present to them that everything is different. We'll never be better than you,
Mm-hmm.
and you will never be better than me. We
Mm-hmm.
are just different. Your car is different than our planet. Our planet is just different than the boat. The boat is different than your house. The house is different than McDonald's.
Mm-hmm.
McDonald's is different than the restaurant 5 star. 5 stars means nothing. It's just a mechanisms of things. Everything is different. That's why we present to the people, the more the word, the frequency word better is actually deleted and reversed by the pronunciation of, oh, it's different. Instead of, do you like, I'm going to give a very simple example. Do you like this ice cream? Wow. Yeah, I like it. However, I prefer the chocolate is better. It's just different.
Right. Yeah,
So
it's a matter
I
of
like
taste, I guess.
yes, I like vanilla. However, I also love to experience that. Same as the word try. The
Mm.
people here on this planet in English language have a tendency to say, and I know it's going to be funny for many. You go to the restaurant, you order a plate, a dish, anything restaurant you like or place you like, and you have your friend or your wife or your husband, your girlfriend, boyfriend, and you say, "Oh, you want to try that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you want to try a food? You really want to try a food? No, you try a shirt, you
Right.
try a pants, but no, you taste the food.
Right.
Can, would you like to taste the food? Would
Yeah.
you like to taste this? So a taste. Now, does the taste is only for the food? It's also for different things. You taste the experience of the Rodek. You taste the experience of your meditation. You actually tasting. It means you embracing. You actually experimenting.
Right.
What you allow you open yourself to that instead of to try. Try is a failure. It created doubt.
Yeah.
So that's why also we present to the people, never try the raw deck, never try your meditation. You do it or you refrain to do it. You
Right.
taste it and you embrace it.
I like that. Yeah, and I think of that too. When I think of Love Light Worker or Starseed, I think of that more as a job title rather than a reason to separate or categorize ourselves as being better or something like that. Just more of like why we're here and what we're trying to do on the whole.
The human beings has a massive, a huge existence and potential. And
Mm-hmm.
as long as they're gonna continue with the situation of better, they're gonna put themselves in a diminution, in a diminishing. They're gonna diminish themselves through competition. The human beings are never been created for competition.
Mm-hmm.
They've been here to share and evolve through a sharing experience. And as long as everybody is open to the sharing and accept that everything is just different,
Mm-hmm.
you go to one store, whatever you see is different than the other store. Everything is just different. And uh, we do have a planet where you can call it a school planet. And the moment we stay here to evolve, it's actually 250 years.
Mm-hmm.
It represents 10, 15 years here on this planet for a teenager to go to the school. Now, we are encountering with other civilization. We do. So we have a knowledge already from other civilization.
Mm.
The contact between each civilization never been in the better. They have knowledge, we have knowledge. We just experience. And the knowledge comes from consciousness. So it's an evolution. As soon as the most lovely connection through your consciousness, the more answer you will have. The more you question them, the less answer you have. That's why this planet is in a slowdown of its own rotation and own gravity.
Mm. Well, I don't know if you can make it out to Austin, Texas, on the for the New Year, but man, we would love to have you there to share some of what you do and how we can connect. I think that would be very nice to have you there. I don't know what
Yeah,
your
sure. A
schedule's like.
pleasure a pleasure to explore. I will feel and sense the window for it, and then coordinate. Yes.
Yeah, it would be very good, I think.
Hmm.
Let's see here.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, Sedona is a very interesting place for that to experience.
yeah, so what do you think about man, I tell you what, when I went there, I could definitely feel a level of excitement, and I just couldn't distinguish whether I was just excited to be there or if there was something more going on. But there's definitely these vortex energies. You can see it affecting the trees, the way they grow up and spiral upward, and different things like that. So, uh, to do what you do with the road deck, is it easier to do it in a place like Sedona?
Alors, Sedona, we can explore a little bit Sedona. Sedona has a magnetic field,
Hmm.
which, regardless who come to Sedona, will experience differences. First of all, because people are living in cities.
Right.
Sedona is different than the cities. Even you can look at it as a city. It's different exploration. Sedona circulates a magnetic field on the constant aspect of the each vortex gravity. So you have a four vortexes, two feminine and two masculine. And when you really observe from the sky, they are in a very specific location,
Hmm.
and they are in a certain places for a certain reason. Now, that's going to be too long explaining down the road. Now, what is happening is you have a four vortexes that interact each other and create a spiral.
Mm.
That spiral, for the people who are connected, tune into that, and for the people who are unaware, they feel different.
Right.
So, so experience a shift, regardless the vortex facilitated the acceleration of the road deck in terms of effect. That's what is happening now. What you all of you have experienced, and I had the pleasure to explore your recent show with some guests who came on. So now it was really lovely to hear that. What all of you have experienced is the logic and the magnificent effect of the Sedona
Hmm.
energy shield and the energy circulation, because you carry a lot of different energy during your day where you are actually living in the city, traffic, car. In Sedona, you're already outside all of that. People living differently. We are in a anyone who decides to recalibrate, they go to a vortex right away. We
Hmm.
take a car and we go, or we are in a different hike. There is a 242 hike in Sedona, so you can go to different places. You have the liberty, such as Shaman Cave or any other location, Westport. You can explore that, or at the airport.
Right.
Now, through the effect of the juniper twisted, as you discover that on different vortex, the juniper
Hmm.
are twisted. But then you also in a spiral twisted by the effect of the circulation of the vortex. Regardless you are in Chocolate Tree or a different location in Sedona, you are into that spiral. And the people who are actually awake and are in the path of awakening, they will have a reaction, either vomiting, extracting, crying on the top of the vortex, nausea, feeling different, or they have a sensation they have a headache. It never been a headache. It's what we call a download. So
Ah.
because you download, you receive information that you're gonna really release, and that happened very very often at the very beginning when you decide to stay in Sedona. Now, what is happening also, the effect of the Sedona from the vortex is because people, like I told you, gently deny what they're crossing or unaware or too much information that is like a dissonance, too many disturbance on their life on daily basis,
Yeah.
too many interaction with the different people, regardless the work they do. So when they come to Sedona, because they never really released it before, it come to the surface
And
through
that's why
the
we
spine,
saw
through
the That's why we saw the purging the people were talking about with the nausea and
Correct.
the tears just flowing out. And now, you know what's funny? You mentioned
Correct.
headaches. I had headaches before I went and after I left, but I didn't have them there. So that was kind of strange to me that it took away my headaches when I was there. So I wasn't really getting downloads while I was there. I guess I was just bathing in the energy. So
Extracting. Yes, you extracting. So it has a different effect according where the people are at.
uh,
Yes. So when the people are holding too much, is they're gonna have a side effect. They might have a pimple, back pain. They sense it's a pain. It's actually a reaction because what they have been holding. They're holding too much frequency on the distance,
yeah.
too many different delicacy interactivity, and then they have a reaction.
That's
And
strange because I've been having shoulder pain too, and it went away quite a bit. I mean, you can see in the one picture I took, I was able to hold my arm up, and it's actually gotten worse since I left there. It's like the energies there made my arm get as probably better than it's felt in about a year, and since I left, it's sort of come back.
like I say, it has a very positivity according where the person is at. So
Yeah,
you had a reverse extraction from what it has been released out of you, because you were already into the path of eliminating that or working on that. So it accompany there is an accompaniment for that.
uh,
Some people has a different reaction. It's always positive regardless.
right. We just might experience pain, but no pain, no gain, as they say, right?
Ah, okay, yes, that experience. Yeah, that aspect. So yeah, yes, indeed. So that's also the reason why people also feel hyper energy when they
Yeah.
come to Sedona. They are very different, and then after a while, the energy start to fade down because they go back to their routine and going back to the routine, coming back to where they're from. They say, "Oh, I would like to go back to Sedona. I like to go there." Now, an awareness. It's There is a difference between visiting Sedona and living in Sedona. When you decide to really take steps and move to Sedona, the difference is it will take minimum 8 months to 1 year for the person to really be stable.
Mm.
And anyone is absent to stay more than a year in Sedona, they're out. The you Sedona will never adapt to you, never. So you adapt to Sedona by listening what is happening. And the first months, you anyone on this planet, regardless who, and it happened including myself, emotionally, all emotions come back to the surface,
Hmm.
and you go through a lot. You go through a lot. And I say a lot, it's a lot. And the people are absent to realize that
Yeah.
because they say, "Oh yeah, go to Sedona, it's gonna be great and everything." Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. And then things happen. Phone, credit card, lost, car things, stomach pain. What is happening to me? I have this, it never happened to me. Yeah, well, so this kind of effect is no more. I've seen I've seen hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people come over here and be in a very amazing, lovely situation, and they decide to actually resonate with Sedona. And I keep telling them, yes, embrace, fantastic. You're gonna go through a lot.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it myself. It felt great. I felt energized and I felt better
It
than,
does, it
yeah.
does,
It was
it
wonderful.
does.
It was a great break. I don't know what it did to me, but I definitely still feel that not only the connection with Sedona and the way it felt and the experience of it all, but the people I've met, I feel like I'm still connected with them in a greater way. Even the people I knew beforehand, I feel like I have a stronger connection with them as well. So it was overall a wonderful experience, and that's why I can't wait to do it again. To get together again and have more people come, because I feel like as we come together and we have time for our energies to mesh with one another, we give each other hugs, we hold hands and have time to meditate together, and then we go away and go back home, but we still maintain a stronger connection. And I think that's sort of my mission right now, I feel, is to have these times to come together, make those connections, and then go back home, and we're strengthening the grid around the world. I mean, here you're going to go back to France, and we have that connection now. So as you connect with people in France, you become that sort of conduit to the group that you met with over here to connect with people over there. And it won't take long at all before we encompass the whole globe, so to speak.
Yes, indeed. That's a very lovely appreciation, and all of you are welcome to come back to Sedona, and we can explore more. I can also, with a pleasure, to show you different locations, different ambiances, and different aspects that people are being absent to visit and experience. And yes, the connection is extremely, extremely important indeed. Yes, and it's lovely what anybody who come here and they do have a wonderful, amazing experience. However, like I say, when you when you live in when you live in when you live in Sedona, it's very different than when you just pass by for a few days. It's a very very interesting reactions indeed. Yeah.
Yeah, we've actually, me and my wife, and we've been talking about moving there. We're like, I don't know. We could probably make it work. My job's, I'm online, so I can go anywhere and do what I do.
Yes.
So that would be awesome to move there.
Yes, it's a trip. It's a aspect. It takes a moment. It takes a 1 year. The person who come to Sedona, regardless from couple, or they stay more than 1 year. They're good. They're good usually.
It has a
Yes.
lasting
Yeah.
effect, huh?
Yes, it has less effect, and you have processed everything. That oh yeah, I've seen even couple. They come here, they married for 10 years, and boom, it cracked, divorce. Well, it's an effect. Yeah, no, because they were sensitive, they were good, and then because they were in the city, when they come here, it's very different. Everything is different. Everybody's different. And then also some people coming and then they merge with someone else, or they merge with more connection. You will connect much more with your wife than you ever have connected before.
Yeah.
So yes, it's a very very different approach, and everybody discover a lot of things by coming here. However, as long as the people listen
Yeah.
and open to the energy of what Sedona is and what Sedona do, and avoid to be too much in the hippie junkie drug system,
Yeah.
because there is a lot of that in Sedona, then they stabilize themselves and they evolve very well.
Yeah, that's funny you
Yeah, no,
said that
Sedona.
because I kept wanting my wife to be there the whole time. Like, this is beautiful. She should be here seeing this. But she was working at the
Yeah.
time, so she couldn't come along. But if I'd known, I would have probably gone out of my way to, like, you just got to figure out how to take these days off or whatever. So,
Yes, exactly. So after you can also, yes, it's an organization, and I sense there is a lot of things to do in Sedona as well. You can also emancipate what you are doing here, because we actually barely have a radio here, for example.
mm-hmm.
Not really. So there is a lot of things that actually are also welcome to integrate in Sedona as well.
Nice. Yeah, somebody's wanting to call in from Not So Fancy Nancy. If you look below, there's actually a number for Canada you can use to call in. I'm actually using a different system tonight. Please do. Okay. Yeah, so it was a pleasure having you on, and I definitely want to have you back soon, and I definitely want to come
Sure.
back to Sedona. So,
Sure, any moment you like, and then we can discover different topic, focusing more, or pleasure to also interact with other listener and also other interactor as well, for their curiosity and embrace more connection.
right, and I will definitely put. You sent me some information about the experience exploration that you got going on.
The exploration of consciousness language. Yes, it's you call it retreat. Yes, we're gonna start to do that ongoing. You can also welcome to participate and interview people who will actually be attended to that. And it's we decide to do ongoing, so 8 to 11 people. They can also contact me via email at okanim.nimarek@nimarek.com, or you can give them my phone number and the flyer you have received, and they can actually decide to experience for 1 week. It's all inclusive. It's all inclusive. We pick them up at the airport. We drop off at the airport, and we have a chef. cooking. It's a vegan, vegetarian, pescatarian. So
Oh, nice.
it's a yeah. And then each morning we have introduction of consciousness language meditation, and then also we have activities. So a zip line, a zoo, Grand Canyon, West Fork, Shaman Cave, vortexes, the Red Road train down Cottonwood, and zip line, yeah, or off road as well. We That's a part of it, yeah.
Is that the same email, the Outlook.com email you gave me,
Or
or?
it can be either way, either way. Okanim at outlook.com or okanim at nimarek.com, which is the professional email. So
Okay, I've got this one available, so I'll paste it in the chat so anybody can, let's
sure.
see here, paste. And
Yeah,
then,
and then next moment, anyone you decide to share more about Sedona or universe or knowledge or gravity or spaceship or connection or any kind of situation, then yes, that would be a pleasure for me.
yeah, and of course you can go to uotf.net and contact me that way, and I can actually send you a flyer if you didn't catch, if you're not in the chat and you didn't get the, if you're watching this later on and you would like that information, certainly email me through the website or directly shanecrob@gmail.com, which is also on the website if you don't like to use the
Sure.
contact pages, and I will get the information to you for sure. And I definitely look forward to having you back, my friend.
You're welcome. A pleasure for me too, as well. And then I'm pleased to have a connect you with all of you. Thanks to a common friend, Peter,
Yeah,
that I
Peter.
actually met in Hawaii and trusting, and then connect you with you guys and with you. And it was really, really nice to experience something lovely at the spaceship landing at that night. It was nice to take you there. It was really lovely. I'm glad that everybody enjoyed it.
Definitely, man. And yeah, I can really see how there's something miraculous happening that brings us all together. So it's wonderful.
Definitely meant to be.
Meant to be, my friend. So, well, thanks for coming on,
All
and
right.
we'll talk soon, buddy. Have a good one.
You too. Biak, biak, biak.
Biak. And that is Okanim. I appreciate him calling in. That was such a cool experience that night. I wish I had paid more attention. It was just so dark, and man, I just every time I look, there was a couple times I looked away from the sky, and people were like, "Oh," and I was like, "Oh, I missed it." But I got to see my fair share, so it's totally cool. Let me check my show ID, you guys, because I don't see. Let me see. Trying to figure out how I can. Somebody's having problems with the show ID and conference details. Okay, show ID 147793, or sorry, 973. Did I type it in wrong? 1477973. That show ID is not working, huh? That's interesting. That would explain why no one else called in. If you're on the computer, you can... Well, that might be a little bit different. Let me see, dial in numbers. First time using this. Let me just, while I try to work this out, was anybody else able to call in? Can you guys just check? You don't actually have to call in to talk. You can call in to listen, and if you don't raise your hand, I won't pick up the call. I think *3, or I can't remember what it is, but you just hit the button and no, it's not a pen. This is TalkShoe I'm using here. Oh yeah, we do have somebody with their hand up. Let's see. You're live on the air. Who am I talking to?
Hello?
Hey, how's it going? Who is this? Is this Nancy?
It's Nancy.
Oh,
Hi,
okay.
Nancy.
I thought it sounded like you, but I had to be sure.
Well, yeah, new system. I was trying to figure that out.
Okay, so
How
it
are
did
you?
work for you then, huh? Yeah, you can.
Well, I made a mistake, that's all.
Oh, okay. Did you make the same mistake I made?
Yeah, I figured it out.
Okay.
Sorry?
I was just wondering if you made the same mistake I did and swapped
Well,
the 7 and the 3 at the end. Okay, cool. We have
No,
other
that's
people
not what I
calling you.
did. I dialed the number that was next to Canada. Yeah. So no, I figured it out.
Oh, okay, nice. So I'm glad it's working. I can
So I'm not.
see.
I'm not.
Go ahead. Sorry, there's a
Is
little
there a
bit.
delay?
Yeah, there's a little bit of a delay, so I apologize.
No, that's okay. So I'm not going to take up a lot of time. I just wanted to tell you an update of just the beginning of the week and this dream that I had.
Mm-hmm.
Just waiting to see. Okay, yeah. So Monday, I woke up with a crazy, crazy migraine. And it was so bad, and I was exhausted all day. And I even tried to do self-Reiki. It helped a little, but it didn't clear completely. And I was just burnt all day long.
Mm-hmm.
And it even came into a little bit of the next day. And but halfway in the next day, I started feeling better.
Mm-hmm.
And then that night, which is Tuesday night, going into Wednesday early morning at around 3:10, I looked at the clock. But just before that, I was having this dream, and Lauren Hansen was in it. And we were friends in the dream. She needed some kind of help. She needed a ride. She was moving. She needed a ride to the airport. So I was going to bring her to the airport, and we're leaving a building. And there was this sort of like tornado coming towards us. And I got a little nervous, but she wasn't nervous at all. And it's as it started coming closer, I noticed that it was like a water tornado, and it was shaped like an angel. And it was coming right for her. Well, I thought it was coming right for her, but then it came like through me, and I kind of like was half awake. Oh, no, sorry. I kind of half awoke before it was coming towards us, because I said, oh my God, is this the ship? Is this the event? I was thinking maybe this is this wave that's supposed to be coming in.
Yeah.
And as it got closer, then I noticed that it was the shape of an angel, but it was like a water tornado. And it just came through me, and I kind of like woke up. I didn't feel any love, bliss, or anything like I was expecting, but I was just like confused, and I was like wondering, if I knew how to interpret dreams. And yeah, that was pretty crazy.
Wow. That is wild. So
Mm-hmm.
what did you take away from it? Do
Yeah.
you feel like it was you're just picking up on what's to come soon?
I have, I know I've been anticipating this wave from what Aluna Ash has been saying on the 11th. Yesterday, my nephew was born. Yesterday on the 11th.
Congratulations.
And thank you. It was my sister's first child. So I thought, what a special date for him to be born. I thought he was going to be born on the 10/10, but it ended up being on the 11th. She was 30 hours in with contractions, and finally had a C-section at 4:17 a.m. on October 11th.
Oh, nice.
Beautiful boy. Nathan. Beautiful one. Yeah. And what was my point? What I thought about this? Oh, well, Lori was doing some kind of a thing with the Venus Diaries, and she had pulled up some cards, and they had like ornaments on the cards, and I had picked one that I resonated with, and it was a feather that was on it. And when she had flipped the card over, it was a water card with a woman lying in the water with her face kind of sticking out, like a water. I guess it means a cleansing and emotion. So I thought, and because the feather popped into that same dream as well, not long after that happened with the angel. And I thought, oh, maybe this is connected with the water thing, cleansing, and the water tornado angel.
Right.
And then I was thinking about my sister who was in labor also, the birth. So, yeah, that's all I can come up with.
That's beautiful. And
So that's pretty much it.
trying to figure out if Michelle's in the chat. She can definitely, Michelle Wolf can give us her opinion on it. Or just really, there's a lot of people in the chat that can probably chime in. So you can enjoy reading the chat, and we have a lot of
I thought about Michelle.
intuitives.
Yeah, I'm going to go back in because I'm really curious. And the fact that Lauren was in there, too.
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought about Lauren when she was in Sedona, and she was in her cycle. Oh, and I was started my cycle on Monday as well, and she had that big purge. So I don't know, all this pregnancy, water, cleansing, angels.
Yeah, Lori's
I guess
asking how you felt when you
I don't
woke
know
up
what
from
it
the dream.
means, but I felt confused. I was sure, I was thinking, is this the event? Is this the wave? Because back in March, I felt that rainbow wave. I didn't see it, but I felt a wave come through me for about 40 minutes in the middle of the night, and it woke me up, and I felt that love bliss. So I've been anticipating another one,
Mm-hmm.
and so when that angel was coming towards me, I thought maybe that was it, but I was nervous at first. So then I thought, when I woke up and it went through me, I woke up and I felt like what just happened, but I didn't feel like, I just felt like myself. I was expecting to feel something else. So I don't know if that was maybe just a test, see how I would react maybe to a wave coming in, or maybe a lesson to not anticipate anything and just be. I don't know.
I like that. I can tell you're on the fence about it because that's how I am. I'm like, is it a lesson? Is it just the experience of what's to
Yeah.
come, or what the heck is it? So, well, thank
Yeah,
you so much
nothing
for.
clear on that. I have nothing clear on that yet.
Sorry for the delay.
Of course.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah,
And
it's weird.
yeah, keep us posted, Nancy. Thanks again for calling in. Lots of love to you.
Absolutely, Shane. Lots of love to you, too. I'll go back in the chat now.
Alrighty, bye-bye.
Okay, see ya. Bye.
All right, so there is, I can tell with international calls, there's a little bit of a delay. That's interesting. So just now that we're aware of it, we're cool. I'm going to go to the 210 area code. How are you, 210?
Hello.
Who is this?
Hey there. Hey, this is Sarah. This is I'm a first-time caller, so I'm a little nervous. My heart's beating kind of fast.
Oh no, you're in the perfect group of people here. It's just a relaxed conversation.
I've been listening to you since, I would say, February, and I pop in the chats, and my name on there is Stellar Sarah. So you might.
Oh right.
Some people might
Very nice.
recall that. Yeah. Yeah, so I've just been kind of hovering and listening and kind of just enjoying being part of the community.
Now you're in Texas, 210, right? So are you going to make it out
Yes.
for the New Year's thing? How far is that from you?
I would love to. I'm actually, the 210 is the San Antonio area code, but I'm actually further south. I live in the Rio Grande Valley, which is on the southernmost tip of Texas along the border.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm there by like South Padre Island. People have probably heard of South Padre Island, Brownsville, McAllen, that area.
Mm-hmm.
So Austin's about 5 hours or so away from me. But in Texas, you're kind of used to driving these super long distances. So
Texas is so
it's
big.
really not that far.
Right. I can't believe
exactly.
I'm six hours and something away, and I'm in the next state, but you're nearly just as far, and you're in the same state, because Texas is like 4 states in one, because it's so huge.
I'm glad that y'all landed on Austin, because Austin, any excuse to go out to Austin is, I'll definitely take it. I will try to go. I didn't mean to cut in front of Nancy, but I was going to say I have twin toddlers that are like taking a nap right now. So it's like, maybe if I just cut in really quick and, say hello before they wake up. It's kind of a late nap. It's like 8 o'clock here, 8:20 something. But yeah, I was just listening to what she was saying, and I wanted to hear her dream even before I came in, because I actually also had a really crazy dream the other night, about 2 nights ago.
Let's hear it.
I don't know if you've ever had, I don't know if you've ever had one of those dreams where you feel like you can't wake up, like you're stuck in the dream and you realize that you're dreaming.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I would have a dream like that, it sort of happened to me. And I think, and I had previously thought it might be, what is that called? Sleep paralysis or something like that.
Right. Or a lucid dream, it sounds like to me.
Yes, I think that's what I was having the other night. So anytime that would happen to me in the past, I would always like cry out and say, Jesus, because I was raised Christian, very similar upbringing to what it sounds like you've described.
Yeah.
And that always kind of pulled me out of the dream.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this dream I had the other night, she was talking about water. I had like all this sort of light surrounding me, almost like coming towards me. And I had that same thought, like, what is this? Is this it?
Yeah.
Is it happening? You know? And I also felt a sort of sense of confusion, like, is this good? Is this bad? I don't get it. I can't wake up. And so I actually I said, I was like, who should I call out to? Should I call out to Jesus? Or so I was like, okay, Creator. And so I was like, Creator, and then I got out of the dream.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember kind of trying to turn away from it a little bit, and when I said Creator, it was like I had an intention that whatever this is, I'm keeping my focus on the Creator.
Mm-hmm.
And so that kind of, for me, I think I feel like in this whole awakening process that you get a lot of different information coming in, and just having to filter it and sort it through your own belief system has been kind of a trip, you know,
Yeah.
a little bit of a trip. And so anyway, I came out of it, but I was going to say in regard to that I don't know what the dream meant or anything like that. I don't know how to interpret such dreams, like she was saying, but I did get a feeling that it was kind of almost like a premonition of some sort.
Right.
I don't know what that means, but it was an experience that I had not had really anything like that, where you are just so very aware,
Mm-hmm.
but yet you're in a dream. So anyway.
Right.
So
Yeah, that doesn't
strange.
happen often.
Mm-hmm.
But that's awesome. Yeah, and I think what makes
Yeah.
that work with crying out Jesus or the Holy Spirit or Creator or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
I think whatever takes you out of fear is what does it. So,
Yeah.
Jesus
'Cause I
works
was
for a lot of
starting
people.
to go into that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I
With
was starting to go into that fear, and then that just set the intention that, I'm standing in what I know is true, kind of. Does that make sense?
Totally, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so
Yeah,
much, Stellar Sarah,
Sure.
you said it was?
Yeah, actually, I had a quick question for you.
Sure.
Yes, Stellar Sarah is my. I want to start a YouTube channel. I uploaded one video so far, so I guess because I grew up in the church and I have a lot of people around me that are still kind of holding to a lot of beliefs that I've been kind of exploring some other avenues. I feel a little bit apprehensive about it. But I'm going to keep sharing as things come to me, talking a little bit about my awakening story on that. But I had a question for you. You grew up in a church, probably a lot similar to mine, just from what I've heard you talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And what I would describe mine as was like a spirit-filled or evangelical Pentecostal almost.
Mm-hmm.
Was that kind of like what you grew up in as well, or was?
Yeah, it was Pentecostal. Pentecostal. It was the Church
Mm-hmm.
of God in Christ, and it was the Holy Roller Church, where they thought we were crazy because we were speaking in tongues and shouting and running up and down the aisles and just acting crazy. But there was something really powerful about it, and that's one of the things I had to realize when I got out of the church. I'm like, well, what was that experience? Because there was something going on there that was more than just a bunch of people that it was all in their head, and And now I realize, I think one of the things they would say is gifts come without repentance, and I think it's that power of God can be found anywhere, and it's like you experience it one place, and we put that limitation on it and say, well, that must be the church that really has the power of God in it or whatever. But then once you leave out of that and you see the power of God everywhere, you realize that, oh, it's not that it was just there, it's everywhere, and that's been my experience,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, and I was going to say, you mentioned speaking in tongues. That to me is so much like the light language that we're hearing on from a lot of different YouTubers or different spiritual teachers or spiritual people. And also, I don't know if you had this in your church, but there was a couple of people that would get up and get on the microphone, and they would have a word from the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
Which to me essentially was like channeling, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, they just label
it
it differently. But yeah, you're totally right. In fact, we had this one church where it was a really small church, but one person would begin to cry out in tongues, and then as soon as they were done, we would wait for the interpretation, and then someone would interpret what was just cried out in tongues. And I think that was a biblical way of handling it. I think one of Paul's verses says, if there's no interpretation, what's the meaning? I don't remember the exact wording of it, but I think that church really stuck to that guideline that you were silent until someone gave the interpretation of what was just said or whatever. But then other churches, everybody just kind of spoke in tongues like an angelic language. But yeah, it's totally channeling, and that's the whole Bible was channeled, if you want to look at it that way. It's just, you can label it differently, but that's funny that so many Christians that look at the channeled material in the Bible and then say that other people channeling are doing something evil. It's like, dude, they're like the same thing.
Right. Exactly. Well, any kind of inspired writing, I kind of see that as channeling as well. That's what you're doing. You're pulling down something outside of yourself, in a sense. It's part of you, but it's kind of coming through you in a way.
Definitely. And it's powerful.
Yeah. And it was like kind of a more esoteric way of being in the church. So I don't know. I really see a lot of parallels, and I think that it may also be like, I think you just mentioned that what makes you be a little bit more open-minded about spiritual things, because when you hear someone speaking in tongues or trying to, casting out demons and things like this, it's a little weird, it is a little strange.
And it's people can feel the power. If they come into a Holy Roller church and they've never been there and they hear all these people speaking in tongues, it can come across feeling real eerie to those people, and they're like, what the heck? And they feel the energy and they don't know how to take it, and they're like, is this evil? Is it just because they're not used to it? And it's palpable, so they just I don't know, it kind of freaks people out sometimes. But I think it's something very real going on. If you can sort of tear away the man-made doctrine attached to all of it, it's still channeling and all the things that I'm involved with now, without all of the judgment and rules that man has put on us to sort of control us,
Yeah, and that's kind of the journey that I'm on. Is I'm trying to figure out where I fit into that spiritual path, because I have that history, but then I also have that kind of voice in my head that's like, should you be doing that?
Right.
And so, but I think it was a gift to have grown up that way. Anyway.
I think so too. Yeah.
All part of the experience.
Yeah, it's so many of us are on this similar journey. I know even Lauren, she still speaks in tongues or the light language or whatever, and that all stems from our background. So many of us grew up that way, and we've come to realize that there's a bigger picture involved than just what the church would have us think, And Jesus said it himself, we'll do the things he did and greater. Why would he say that? And I totally feel it. They don't want a bunch of Jesuses running around is the problem, because he was like a rebel to the system,
Yeah. It's all a way to try to control everything, to control people.
Yeah, they don't want us to know we can connect directly to source. They want us to think we have to go through them. And That's just not the case.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome.
Well, I do
So
appreciate
true.
the comments and your experience. And when you get back in the chat, you guys can actually click the little dots on her name and go to her channel and subscribe or whatever. It's great to see. I love people getting their channel started because I think as a community we're much stronger, and I hope other people get encouraged to just get on
Thank
there and share
you.
your experience.
I say a lot in my first video, but I'm going to keep going.
Yeah, definitely. And it'll grow. When I
Thank
started
you.
out, I didn't think anybody would ever watch me. In fact, I'm so glad I started thinking that way because I just sort of
Hmm.
got on and talked and shared my ideas just to give myself something to do because I was coming out of a really hard time, and it helped me out of it, and then
Yeah.
everything just exploded
An
from there for
outlet.
me. And now people actually listen, and I can help other channels
Because
and
if you
stuff.
knew what you know now, because if you knew what you know now, you would like overthink it and,
Oh yeah,
you know, be like perfectionist about it.
yeah, yep,
At least that's
totally.
what I would do.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's the ride I've been on. So, yeah, it's hard to believe I'm where I am now because I never really thought I'd be here, but here I am.
Hmm.
It was just a little silly idea
Hmm.
I had, but now I realize it was more than just my own idea. That's great.
And then we're also meeting each other and finding out the different commonalities we have amongst each other, like that whole um, Myers-Briggs personality,
Oh, did you take that
segue
one?
we had the other day. Yes, I'm actually one of an INFJ, and I watched the video by Dan K2D2 and Lauren that
Yeah,
they did the other day, and that was really insightful. And I'm obsessed with anything having to do with that personality type, which is the most rare on that whole spectrum.
hmm,
Of all the different personality types, it's the most rare one. And so you have a tendency to feel like you're, strange or different, and you sort of always, and maybe it's an introvert thing or a highly sensitive person thing where you always feel like you're the odd one out in a
yeah,
way, you know.
totally.
So that in and of itself, knowing that there are other people that are kind of finding each other with similar experiences like that,
Yeah,
uh, that's another way that it's growing, I think.
totally. And I would encourage anybody to just check that out. That's cool. You can just Google Meyer-Briggs test or something like that, and I just
Yeah.
clicked the first one, but I was an INFP, but my the introvert part, I was only
Hmm.
57%. So I was
Oh.
quite balanced on that one. The other ones I was like around 80% on them, but that introvert
Hmm.
extrovert part, I was really just shy of being pretty balanced. And I am. If I have to be the extrovert, I'll be it, but I prefer not to. So
Yeah.
it was pretty accurate, I
Right.
thought.
Totally. And I think us introverts, if we're, other introverts can probably relate to learning how to be a little bit more extroverted
Yeah,
and tap into that, because that's what our world, that's the world we live in, that it's ingrained in us that the extroverts are the ones that, you know,
yeah. We
I
all
wouldn't
work
say rule
together.
the world, but they're kind of like, we introverts are now taking over. No.
Well, that's what I
So
realized on this journey was that we all work so much better as a unit, as a united, because people pick up the slack where other people are weaker, and it just works out better.
mhm.
That's one of the reasons why I'm working so hard to get us to come together and watch it in action because I
Yeah.
think it's beautiful.
I think I missed the whole conversation. Do you guys know when you're going to come to Austin
Yeah, it's New Year's. It's going to be the
for New
weekend.
Year's? Hmm.
New Year's Day is on a Tuesday. The 1st of January is on a Tuesday, and we're going to start getting together Saturday, Sunday. Monday will be New Year's Eve, and that's when we will do, of course, at midnight, we'll all join together. It's going to be a really loose schedule as far as we'll have like drum circles and uh,
Hmm.
power of eight groups that use our power of intention. There's going to be healing sessions, but for the most part, it's going to be a really loose schedule where people can come and go and visit Austin while they're there, and we'll just have
But
schedules.
we don't know where.
Yeah, it's
Do
going to
we know
be.
where yet?
Yeah, it's going to be west of Austin on private property near a lake
Ooh.
in a cabin. So what we're going to do, since it's someone's home, is for those who say they're going to go, we will just send the information out to those rather than post it publicly, since it is someone's home. But yeah, it's going to be beautiful. So anybody interested now, you
I'd
can.
love to go.
Yeah, you can email me at, you can either go through the website, uotf.net, and contact me through the contact page, or you can email me at shanecrob@gmail.com and just put Austin in the subject line. That way I can create a folder and move everyone into that folder, because I get so many emails. So if you don't put Austin in the subject line, I might miss out on getting you, but we'll have more details to come in the coming, weeks or whatever. It's almost planning itself. I was talking to everyone else about it. I'm like, dude, this is just all falling into place. So yeah, it's really working out. I can't believe it. I'm like, oh, it's really going to happen, so it's beautiful.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much for calling in. I'm going to get to one of the other callers, and lots of love and light to you, Stellar Sarah.
Thank you. Thanks.
Alrighty, bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Oh, I forgot. I meant to ask her which button. Here, I can ask the next caller. Let's see. We have a 661 that's been waiting for a while. Oh, Okay.
Hello, love.
Hello, love. Who is this?
Hello, love. How are you?
Doing
It's been
wonderful.
a long time since I've called into your show.
And who am I talking to? Let me switch your name out here.
This is Michelle. See, it has been a long time. You forgot my voice. But in your defense, I'm on the telephone. So I sound different on the telephone than on the computer. Anyways, when I called, people were having problems calling in. But it's because they have to put the code in, then they have to hit 1, and then they have to hit 1 again to enter in. And then it says that you have to hit *2 to raise your hand. So that way you'll know that they're ready to take the call. Otherwise, they get 15 minutes on the call with you, or it'll disengage them. So basically, you have 15 minutes to get to them, or it could hang up on them. And that's how they raise their hand, and that's how they get through. So I originally called for that, but as I was listening, I know you raised Pentecostal, and speaking in tongues, light language, was a part of your upbringing. Well, we were raised Lutheran and Methodist, and for us, that was, of the devil. And lo and behold, when that amazing thing happened to me, that's what came along with it. I let go, and this language came out. And my husband and I are like, oh, my gosh, it's the devil, you're possessed. So we went to a couple churches. Actually, there was 3 different pastors. One happened to be Pentecostal, and then one was the local non-denominational that we were attending at the time, and another was just, I want a third opinion. So, you can't just, at that time, I couldn't just go into a meditation. Remember I told you about clearing your mind to a blank piece of paper? I say that because, I suffered from the mind racing and all that, and these are things that I had to do to quiet my mind down, in order to be able to meditate, to be able to hear. Well, so it would take me a while before I could get into that calm place where I could look, then that would flow. But all 3 of them said I was speaking Hebrew.
Oh, really?
I've never spoke Hebrew a day in my life. To me, isn't that a dead language? I failed Spanish, Shane. I can barely speak English, So, so they said I was speaking Hebrew. At least part of it was in Hebrew. And it was really shocking. But from that point on, my husband and I were, more accepting of it.
Mm.
And I stopped pulling myself away from it because it was a gift.
Mm-hmm.
I was given a gift, and I just didn't know how to receive the gift. I was afraid of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then as time goes on, it's kind of like we get used to walking in that, that higher frequency, that lighter feeling.
Yeah.
And then when we have to deal with something in the 3D, it feels real heavy, and you're like, ew. But then I think about, oh my gosh, that's what we functioned in.
Yeah.
And so I never thought I would be able to get that feeling back like I did when it was like what we would call in the Christian world Holy Spirit baptism.
Mm-hmm.
But I was at home. I wasn't at a church.
Right.
Just happened like a spontaneous thing. So, but that's how I felt, was like light, clean, purified. And I thought I would never get that feeling back. But then over time, that ends up being how we walk. And then when something lower density, a little, I don't know, things that are like jealousy or anger, they're not comfortable in that because we're not comfortable in that energy anymore. And I know from going to Sedona, feeling that energy. I knew you would love that place. It's like when you were driving in, did you come in through the Flagstaff way?
Yeah. That was an
Okay, that's the way that I went
drive.
into. I have not went in through the Cottonwood way, but from coming from Flagstaff, it's like you're driving into a whole other world, like another country. I mean, you're driving from the desert area. I mean, Flagstaff's in the mountains, but it doesn't look like, and then you go around like this bend, and then it's like all these gorgeous mountains that are all these beautiful red tones, and all the foliage and the waterfalls, and oh my, it's just so beautiful there. And the energy of that place holds, I never thought, I know we can do that in ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We can hold those kind of energies in ourselves. But that land, there's something about that place that has something really special going on there, because everybody there, no matter where you're at in life, you can feel it. It's tangible. It's so I really wanted you to experience Sedona. So I'm really happy that you got to go and do that. Everybody needs to experience Sedona at least once. And last thing I want to say, and then because I just wanted to really help people be able to call through and talk to you, is in May. I'm not going to bring you a bunch of rocks now, and they can't be big. So I just want to be upfront with this. But my daughter, well, she's my stepdaughter. We're a blended family, which you know that. She's getting married in Oklahoma, very close to you. So we'll be going that direction, and of course, we're going to be driving, and we will go by Sedona. Now, I'll haul you out some rocks, okay?
Oh, I got some,
but
though.
You need to. I know you do, but I know you want more. But I can't get one that's big enough for you to lay on. It'll be too heavy, and it'll cost me up the wazoo and gas.
Yeah.
So we will definitely pick you up some more crystals and stones from that area. Maybe I like the water. I'm a water girl. I like to swim in my pool, and I get my meditations and things like that. I do the best when I'm in the water.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll probably try and go by the river,
and
see if I can get you some nice polished by the water, some nice smooth stones.
Yeah.
So we'll bring you back some, but I just don't want you thinking I'm going to bring you 150 pounds of stones. But then again, where would you put them all?
Oh,
You'd probably
definitely
find a place for them. You're so funny.
Well, I got some
that's
hand-sized
all
ones. I got some hand-sized ones, and then I got some really small, like pebble-sized ones, and brought those back. Oh, probably about 5 little palm, or pebble-sized ones, and then 2 of the bigger ones that would really hurt it. Well, I guess they would all hurt if they hit you, but 2 that have like pretty good weight to them or whatever.
Well, I'll check out what the reservation is on them, and hopefully get you some right out of the freshwater stream that are like palm, like you can hold them in your palm.
Right.
And you know how they say that if something is good for you, what you do is you put the stones in your hand, and you ask yourself if it's good for you. Then the stone will raise or lower, by your arms being out.
Yeah.
Also goes for like locking your fingers together. If you're going to eat something and you're wondering if it's healthy for you, lock your fingers together like in like a circle 8. And if you can't break them apart, go ahead and eat it. It's okay. But if your fingers break apart, then don't eat it. Something's foul with that. So just the little things that we learn, old wise tales that actually have something to it. But the same goes with the stones. So, and especially coming from a blessed area like that, for me, I'm really trying to follow my intuition more, because that's what gets me in trouble. I try to fight it, try to fight my intuition, and I lose every time. But I'll get you some stones, and then you can use them in that way or whatever way. They'll be yours. Cleanse them and purify them and make them your own. But like I said, the one you were laying on, it's just not going to fit in our car. I know we have a Jeep, but
it fit on your car. Matter of fact, I think your car would disappear underneath it if you tried to take it.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm going to think when I meet you and you're 6'4". I mean, you're
I'm
tall.
I'm not that tall. I'm only 6'1.5" or something. So.
Oh, 6'1". Oh, okay. That's not. You're still taller than my husband, and you're just going to tower over us. But
yeah, I'm
that's
shrinking
all right,
a little bit. So.
Are you shrinking? That's what I found out when I went to the doctor.
Yeah.
He said I'm an inch shorter. I was 5'7", and I'm like, no, you're like wrong. The DMV's measuring thing is correct. You don't know what you're talking about. And my back, I'm standing more upright and straight since almost going into that scooter chair, 2012, which I know you know about that. And I'm walking upright. You'd think that I'd get taller, but I'm shrinking.
Yeah, I need to hang from my ankles like they do to stretch out my spine. Maybe that'll help.
That's what I need to do. I need to hang like a bat. Does that work? I mean, seriously, does that work?
I don't know. Maybe.
Because I've heard people doing that. I just don't know how I'd get back down. I think I could get up there, use a chair or whatever, but once I'm upside down, I'd be all blood red in the head waiting for my husband to come home from work. Be like, help me. I've been stuck here all night. Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's hard to believe I used to hang from monkey bars. Man, I definitely fall and break my neck now.
Yes, we did. I used to hang upside down with my knees and my head and swing all around. And, I guess, we just need to be big old kids and just look at life as fun and enjoy ourselves, make the best out of everything, and, look at everything as a blessing and realize that we're here to learn and experience and expand, and it's just wonderful. So they call your number, then it asks for that number to punch in, okay? Then after that, it asks them to put in their access code, but they won't have an access code. But if they keep listening, it'll say, if you're not a member of this, press £1, and that'll bypass that part for them. Mm-hmm. And then it'll ask them to agree to go into a recorded call, and then they have to hit the £1 again to agree to come into your recorded call. And it says you'll come in muted. You got 15 minutes. And if you want to, raise your hand, then you push the other one, the star button, and the 2, and then everybody should be able to get through just fine.
Star 2. So, yeah, if you guys, we got several people sitting here waiting, and they haven't pressed
if they
want
to talk, tell them to hit star 2, and then I guess you'll be able to see
that
they have their hands raised.
Totally, yep. That's what it looks like, a little
got
hand
it?
there saying,
okay,
hey.
Great.
So thank you so
Everybody's
much
hands
for
just went
explaining
up
this.
all of a sudden. Bing, 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 bing.
Yeah, this was my first time
All right,
using this
Shane.
program, and Dan from Talk is Cheap just told me about it. I'm like, well, I'll give it a try since they come and mute it, and you can control who's unmuted. I know you're using the other program.
Yeah, Uber. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Uber Conference, and I didn't like that anybody could unmute at any time and just start talking, so I didn't really want to use that one. I wasn't happy about the pen.
So
but
there's a 5-second delay on that. And the only problem is you got to stay on that Uber conference page. And as soon as I see somebody like undelete themselves without me doing it, I just hang up on them.
Oh, okay.
So I have time to hang up on them and disengage the call. But I liked it because 5 people can be there, and there's no expense on the people from no matter where they're calling.
Right.
So that's why I
cool.
liked it. So you can, but this will work for you just as long, the instructions are, you just got to listen and then hit the 1, and then you don't have to have an account. So hit that 1 and you come in like a guest, and that pound or star key, and 2 raises your hand. And you have a blessed night. I know you got a lot of people waiting. I'm just going to sit here and listen to you and enjoy your show.
Thank you
I
so
love
much,
you, Shane.
Michelle.
Have a
I
great
love you
night.
too, Michelle. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
So yeah, and you can also, if you have data issues, like your plan, you're limited on how much data you can use, and you like to tune into the program, you can use the phone number to call in, and it uses your regular minutes if you've got unlimited. I know some people have unlimited minutes, but they're limited on their data, so you can actually not watch on YouTube, just call the number. But of course you won't get the chat. I know a lot of people really enjoy getting in the chat, but it's an alternative, or you could even, I'm wondering if you could pause it. I don't know. I'm just thinking outside the box. Okay, the next one that came in was 508 area code. How are you doing? This is Shane. You're on the air. Who am I talking to?
Hey, Shane. Awesome to talk to you, my brother. This is Sean Indigo.
Hey, what's up, man? Good to have you
What
calling
is
in.
up?
How are things over on your channel?
Yeah.
This is Sean Indigo for you guys that might recognize the name, but you're like, where do I know that name from? He's the YouTuber, Sean Indigo. So welcome to the program, man. How's things been going on in your part of the world?
Yeah, it's going really good, man. I'm just glad to talk to you, and I just want to let you know, you've been doing such a good job, bringing peace, love, and harmony to this world. You've been helping this world be a better place. You are awesome.
Oh, man, I enjoy your channel too, man, and it's a pleasure to finally talk to you in person, because I know we've been on each other's videos and commented, but we haven't actually spoken. But I know we're on the same page with making the world a better place. So it's awesome.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I guess I'm a little bit slow to get with the program with regards to connecting with people in a live format or Google Hangouts and stuff like that. But I've been following you and your channel, and I'm just so happy about those who want to make this world, a better place. And you're right. The cream rises to the crop.
Yeah.
To the top, and you've been doing a great job, and you've been pulling all these like-minded people together. You've really made a difference, man.
I appreciate that, man, and you have too with getting the information out about the Mandela effect and being there for people that are noticing and stuff. So I know a lot of people think of us as Mandela effect YouTube channels, but really that's just sort of a starting point for us, isn't it?
Very much a starting point.
Yeah.
I remember the day I realized that the Berenstain Bears changed. I couldn't believe it. I knew it was Berenstain with an E. And then all of a sudden, I'm researching about parallel realities on my own accord. And then I realized that thousands of people are commenting on the Berenstain Bears. I'm like, what the hell? Berenstain Bears?
Yeah.
Whoa! There's all these people all of a sudden catching wind that this reality is not what they thought. I'm like, oh my God, I gotta get on YouTube. I gotta start my own channel. I gotta tell people about what I know.
Yeah. And you know what? One of your videos really sticks in my mind. It was probably over a year ago that I watched it when you first put it out, but it was about you were like about to pull out in traffic, and you would have got smashed by a truck and killed or something like that, and you felt like you jumped into a different timeline or whatever, which kind of reminds me of Suso and the way he talks about this sort of quantum jumping from different timelines and things like that. But I always think about that, and it just mind blowing to think about it that way, because I've had instances like that where it was like I felt like I should wait when a light turns green. There was one time in particular that was similar to your story, and we had the family in the car. We were taking some food down to the homeless shelter. Not that we're always out doing good deeds. I'm just explaining how it just happened at this moment when we're like, hey, let's just make a bunch of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and take it down to the homeless shelter. And, and I'm sitting at this light and I'm about to go, and something just told me, wait, a really stern wait. And I waited, and somebody blew through the intersection. I couldn't see him coming because of the car next to me. And I was like, whoa. And that man, I tell you what, that was a divine moment of knowing something quite not audible, but real sternly told me not to pull out. And if I had pulled out, me and two of my kids would have been just goners, man.
Absolutely. It's like those things are so close. Like if you had a different thought, if your thought process was slightly different, if you had a slightly different day and slightly different experiences, like you might have went a second earlier, and really bad things could have happened.
Yeah.
I remember that moment. My foot did not press on the gas. I let off. I like to play sports, and I'm real quick about making decisions. And for some reason, so it connected to my football days. And I was like, I didn't push the gas. I pushed it down, and then I let off. And then all of a sudden, I seen this car I didn't see fly by. I'm like, oh my God. And then all this information flooded into my brain. I was like, if I would have pushed the gas, I would have gotten plowed through.
Yeah.
I would have gotten destroyed.
Yeah, man.
And then I felt my family, and I could sense what was my it was horrible. It was I was thinking I would have been gone.
Yeah.
I would have had relatives coming to take my pets. It was really, really just an unbelievable experience.
Yeah.
I was so happy. Happy it worked out.
Yeah, me too. The funny thing is, it was at the time, I've got 5 kids now, but at the time I only had 3, and it was me and my 2 oldest daughters, and then my 3rd daughter was a baby, so she was at home with my wife. So I would have literally left my wife and newborn alone, and the rest of her family would have been gone. That would have been, gosh, and to think about that is just very sad to imagine what she would have gone through with everyone in her life taken away, and she's there with our newborn at the time. And so, yeah, it was a very real moment, a moment that I'll never forget, and that was very telling, because I know I didn't see it coming. I know it wasn't just something in my mind to say, hey, watch out over there. It was like a very stern don't go, and I paid attention to it. And that's sort of being in the moment. If I'd had the radio going and just off in my own thoughts and stuff, I might not have caught it, or I don't know, but I'm glad I did.
Yeah, man. And it could be something like that, where this timeline we're on, or these timelines that are merging together.
Mm-hmm.
The event, the world peace timeline that we're on, and it's there's divine guidance and divine timing, and it's helping us out. There's God's hand behind the scenes helping us out, and we're almost there. We're almost to world peace, and whatever the event is, there's a world peace coming, and all these things are playing together, and it's not a coincidence. And these good fortunes are purposefully happening to us.
Yeah, for now, I'm more than ever, I'm excited about the times that we live in. I mean, I was a little bit impatient before, but now I feel like, you know what, I'm going to really just enjoy this pivotal moment, because this is clearly something very real and very special going on here, and I don't want to look back and say, why didn't I enjoy it more? You know what I mean?
Absolutely, man.
So that's awesome, man. And So yeah, man, you just keep doing what you're doing, and I appreciate you being out there. You know, we're all part of one mechanism or body. You know what I'm saying? And we're all doing our part, and it's nice to talk to a fellow content creator here on YouTube. You guys definitely want to check out his channel, and I always enjoy just the I don't know, the sit down heart to heart. You just got a good spirit about you, and I always enjoy hearing your perspective on stuff, man.
Well, thanks, Shane. I appreciate that very much, and I love you, brother.
I love you too, man. You have a good one now.
You too, man.
That is Sean Indigo, YouTuber. I appreciate him calling in, and like I said, definitely want to check out his channel. Great guy, great spirit about him. Let me find out. Okay, gonna go to 778. Is that British Columbia? I want to say.
Oh, hi. Yeah, it's me. It's Lori. Hi, Sean.
Hey, how's it going, Lori?
Shane. Hi. Sorry, it's really. You just cut in and out.
Oh, am I cutting
Like
in and
you're
out on you?
bouncing. Yeah. No, now you're back. Okay. Yeah. No. I am from British Columbia, but I'm actually living in Eastern Ontario right now. So I just wanted to mention something that Stellar Sarah said about the languages, the speaking in tongues.
Yeah.
And I thought it's just really a timely thing because it's coming up in a lot of places right now, very, very acutely and out of the blue. So, in other words, in a lot of the community that I'm involved in, that it's not Pentecostal. Like, not many people did the Pentecostal movement. I know you did, Shane, and I did too. But it's
Right.
it's very magical.
Yeah.
It's full of charismatic gifts of the Spirit, healing and divine guidance, and I was a part of that movement for 3 years in my teenage years. Anyway, so the reason I thought to call in a while back when Sarah was talking is because I feel like this idea of love language, light languages, and speaking in tongues, or glossolalia, which is the official name for it, is really coming back super strong, super powerfully into the mainstream, outside of the context of a Christian or any religious tradition. And I think there's a reason for it, and I'm not sure what it is, but I just feel like it's a bypass of some kind, knowing from my own experience speaking in tongues.
It does feel like a bypass from the left side of the brain, sort of language center. It's like you're going beyond into something else. So I totally agree with that.
Yeah, it's like, exactly. I think that we want to sometimes make a sense of it. And there's another kind of speaking, not in tongues, but it's called xenolalia or something. And it's basically when you speak in a language that's not your own without ever having learned it. But speaking in tongues has been documented and researched by some scientists in the 70s. And I know this because I've done some research on it. And it actually is, when you speak in a language that has no known interpretation, but has the cadence and the rhythm, the pauses and the emotional content of a real language. And if you ever hear people speaking in tongues, or now on YouTube, a lot of people are speaking light language, same thing. You can actually, it sounds like they're speaking a language. It doesn't sound like they're just babbling. And it is, and when you do it yourself, and the reason I'm calling in is I dreamt last night. This is why it's so weird. I dreamt last night in my dream that I was speaking in a light language, speaking in tongues. So I thought, whoa, I'm never up at this late at night, 10 o'clock at night. So I thought, oh my God, this is so cool. So when I had the dream and I woke up from it this morning, and I thought, oh, that's really interesting, and it's been coming up a lot with people I know. My big question to me and anyone else who's experimenting with it is, what is the benefit? What is the value? What is the gift? What is it for, other than a curiosity? And I think it's like that we just said, the bypass from the left brain. I think it overrides our mind, and it overrides the part of us that is in a place of questioning and a doubt and fear and anxiety. Because if you speak in light language or tongues just for fun, like in a meditation or in a state of high altered consciousness, the experience emotionally is uplifting.
It really is.
And the residue, and the residue from hearing someone speak it is also uplifting. Like it's almost like a transmission that is carried in the quality of the sound without even having to know or even try to know what it could possibly mean.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to share that. Yeah.
That's cool that you said that, because I was actually part of a intercessor prayer group here in Tulsa years ago, where we would literally the church was open throughout the day, throughout the week, and we would different people in the church would go in and just spend an hour or whatever you have. You just go in there and pray in tongues, like, sort of quietly, and just and it was very uplifting, and and I think back at one point I thought back, wow, I really wasted a lot of time doing that, but it was almost like meditation of a sort at the time, and I think I really did benefit from it, even though later on I would doubt it, like I have a lot of different things. Now I think my perspective on it is that it was a good thing.
Mhm. Well, it's a kind of basic thing about the fruits, judging things by the fruit. And my experience when I was in the Pentecostal movement for 3 years was that particular aspect of it, and also of healing. There's a lot of spontaneous healing that happens through hands-on healing, was that human beings were connecting with their divinity, and the framework or the container was a religious structure, in that case, the Pentecostal church or the evangelical charismatic movement.
Mm-hmm.
But those movements are echoed in other places in the world. There are other movements that have similar allowance for the expression of what we call speaking in tongues. And in like the Kundalini tradition, it's considered to be an outpouring of Shakti, and it's okay to have vocalizations that are nonsensical. But I think that the light language movement that's sort of beginning to pick up speed, that's cross-denominational and well beyond any kind of container of any world religion, is very powerful. And I have a woman I know, her name is Ilaria, and she's very shy, and she speaks light language on her YouTube channel. She's so low-key. She has like 6 followers, and she's hiding, because every time she does it, she's shy and nervous. But when you listen to this, when she finally puts it up on her channel and tells 3 people what she's just done, because she's so shy, and you go listen to her, you leave that and you smile ear to ear. Like everything in your being just starts jumping for this sort of exuberant, uplifting openness that comes from the hearing of it, and of course the speaking of it as well. So I guess I just wanted to touch base and say, there's something really cool about that, and to dream about that last night. And then to hear, I think Sarah started talking about it. I think she was your first caller. I'm thinking, okay, well, it's worth a conversation. It's worth investigating further. You might want to find someone who specializes in speaking light language and having them on your show.
Yeah, that's totally true. And it's funny that, it's something that once you can do it, you can do it. It's not like I lost it when I left the church or anything like that. So it really is strange, and you do have to go to sort of a different place, more of a meditative place to, get the connection. It could be like our higher self, or, like they say it's like the Holy Spirit. And I think the terminology is sort of mixed up between who you ask, but I think we're really talking about the same thing. It's just different perspectives.
Yeah, I do too. And I think that anybody can do it. It's really, you open your mouth and you let sound start to come out when you're in an altered state or a deeper state of awareness, whether you want to call it a meditative state or a shamanic trance state, or even just if someone did a brainwave scan of someone's brain when they were doing the speaking in tongues, which would be very interesting. Yeah. I'm going to guess they're probably in a theta brainwave state, which is imagination, reverie, daydreaming, just before you go into the delta, which is sleep. So in a way, there's probably a brainwave state that accompanies it, but probably anybody who wanted to give it a try, if you're at all familiar with being able to still your mind a bit or go into a reverie, it would probably work. Anyway, so that's all I wanted to do. I don't want to take up a lot of time. I just wanted to share that something cool is happening with this whole light language, which now I recognize. And today, on one of my groups I'm running on Facebook, I just said to somebody, I think this this light language is the same thing as the Pentecostal speaking in tongues. And this other girl that I'm talking with says, yeah, it's exactly that, because I used to be in the Pentecostal movement. And then I dreamt about it last night. So something cool is, synchronicities happening. That's all. It's like, whoa. And then you're talking about on your show. So I thought I had to call in.
And you know what? I think we're dealing in a time right now that's similar to what they called the days of Pentecost, when there was this outpouring of the Spirit. I think that's maybe what we're dealing with here. And it's like, once you can tear away the religious aspect of it, is that what they were experiencing when they had these tongues of fire over them and they began to speak in tongues? And I don't know. I see it as like the latter days of Pentecost in a way. To use Christian terminology with it. But, we've got to tear away all of the judgment and stuff that man has added to what's going on here. You know what I mean?
I agree. And if you think about the gifts of the Spirit in the original Pentecost and stuff in the biblical terminology, or the story of when the Holy Spirit was kind of unleashed on the disciples after Jesus had died or resurrected, whichever way the story really goes. I mean, that is a little bit like, in all the traditions, we needed to be enlightened because we sat with the master for, years and years as satsangs or darshans, or in other traditions, we needed to spend, so much time, under the zazen, discipleship to get to a place where I think everyone is getting to rather quickly right now, because it's like the gifts have been unleashed,
Oh, yeah.
The gifts of the Spirit. And so it's available, it's almost like a waterfall of grace on humanity. And if you're at all got your antenna up to receive, it doesn't require that you have been a disciple of Jesus and then, happened to be around when, just after he died and the gifts were unleashed on the disciples. I think that's how it happened, the apostles or whatever. Or, in other words, I think the things that were so rarefied and considered to be very, very highly refined spiritual attainments, today, if you're willing and open, are available for everybody and anyone at any time.
Oh, I totally agree.
That's kind of the cool part. Yeah, me too. Anyway, good to hear your voice. I'm gonna go back to sleep almost, because I was falling asleep earlier and I perked back up. April Lunsford was in the group and she said, anyone just get a total sleep wave? And I go, yeah, I got that too. And then I hit a second glass of water, not wine, and I woke up. So I'm going to go back to listening again.
Okay, I'm glad you chimed in. And I did want to say that I met one of your friends in Sedona. I don't know if they told you, but I can't remember their name. But
oh, no,
someone
which
was
one? Oh, my God.
I wish I knew the name. It was a lady, and she said she's friends with, she said she was friends with you. I don't know if just online or in person or whatever, but
that's
I met
cool.
a lot of people.
Well, somebody will probably tell me about that.
Yeah. Well, thanks for calling in.
I'll hear from some. Thanks, Shane. Have a great evening.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Let's see. I think Michelle's opinion said to push *2. Is it? *2 to raise your hands. I see there's a few people still in here, but I don't want to unmute you if you're just here to listen and save on your data. So if you can hit *2. I don't have anyone else with their hands up, although there are a few people in here. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, there's a hand up. 818. You're on the air. This is Shane. Who am I talking to?
Hello, Shane. This is Jacob.
Jacob?
Jacob.
Jacob. Jacob, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I spell it with a K. Jakob.
Oh, okay. Well, welcome to the program. How are you?
Oh. Really, really good. I have some things I wanted to bring up relevant to what I heard in the discussion already.
Yeah, sure. You're coming, is that LA 818?
Yeah.
Awesome. Los Angeles in the house. All right.
Yeah, I've been a big supporter of your program. It's awesome.
Well, I appreciate you calling in. I just wanted to get your name on the screen. Okay, Jacob. All right. So what are your comments about what's been talked about?
language and words and their construction and their misinterpretation and basically, like, it feels to me words, we use them and we have so much invested into them. But before I continue using my words, can you hear me clearly?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we use, wait, am I being affected by the delay in any way?
Yeah, there is a little bit of a delay.
Like so if I speak right after you stop, is it cut off?
No, it's just delayed. The time between us, like, when people are in satellite. I don't think it's as bad in America,
Yeah.
though.
Okay, so with that new information, thank you. This delay is just fine. The thing about words is that they feel like they're diagrams that need to be explained, which means like it's basically holding up something that's innately arbitrary and needing to be explained rather than something that can be experienced intuitively. That's what a word and construction of language based around words feels like. However, language is not limited to words.
Okay, that makes sense.
That's what that love light language is.
Right.
It's language not limited by chunks of words. It's a flow of continuous love light language.
And that's why we experience it in an intuitive way. And although we're not getting the information on the left side of our brain in a logical way like we typically do with when somebody speaks a language we understand, we still experience something on a deeper level than you're saying.
So I have a good amount of experience with, I guess, regular, or no, I want to call the regular language the love light language, the intuitive, supportive, experiential language. I want to call that regular language because when you talk about regular language based on words, it's the one that is able to be misexplained and misunderstood.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah, instrumental improvisation.
Yeah, definitely.
Because on musical instruments, it feels like a expression, very much a language, and it's intuitive. And then this type of love light language, it's so similar.
Mm-hmm. So have you done this before?
Mm-hmm.
Did it start for you in church like so many other people talk about, or was it something that it started a different kind of way for you?
I must have been born with it. Like, not inhibited from the beginning, but uninhibited from the beginning. That's becoming more common.
Yeah. So you feel like maybe you're a starseed indigo type, where you just sort of came in? Do you feel like you're here on a mission to, like so many of us, raise the planet's vibration or spread the love and all of that good stuff?
Yeah, like, it's inevitable that we have purpose in our being here.
Yeah. So, what are you doing as far as, as far as interacting with others, and where are you at on your mission, I should say?
Well, there's so much excitement surrounding the various modes of expression with other people. So communicating is big, and I could communicate in any number of ways.
Mm-hmm.
It's overall reading collective energies and giving a proper reflectivity to have it be able to be expressed.
Oh, I see. So that's excellent.
I feel I'm really excited. This call is one of many great online communities, and we're not limited by the conventional projection that we all know and distastefully can complain about sometimes too often. You know, that conventional burden of the planetary stupidity and whatever.
Yeah, with that feeling that this just isn't home and this isn't the way things should be operating, and it helps to meet other people and connect with like-minded people, definitely, because you can dealing with people in our everyday lives, you can sometimes feel alone in our existence here on this planet.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. It's almost inevitable for us to feel alone, for us to feel like there's something wrong, and then what we can also then do is accept those two declarations, because if it wasn't true what was here, then we wouldn't have the precedent to do the planetary shift.
Mm-hmm. So have you been experiencing, what have you been experiencing, the Mandela effect or anything else, symptoms or anything?
Anything, everything. Yeah, you know, it's very unique, and it just gets more unique the more you see yourself as being all one.
So what did it take for you to get going with your light language? It was just something that just came naturally to you, or was there someone that taught you, or what was the process?
Actually, it might have been just like, here, let's go, let's try this. Like, I knew I knew that I was gonna be, in some sense, babbling, but really, really exciting, like my vocal, like, curiosity.
Yeah.
These things that we're trying to develop in the planetary shift, they're actually natural. They're actually beneficial for people's well-being when you live in love and light.
Oh yeah, definitely, man.
I know that might have sounded ironic when I said that, but we have to understand that we're here to bring a benevolent remembrance, nothing else.
That's very true.
It's not like the Christian or whatever God of punishment. There is no boundary or hoop to jump through.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point, because all that's man-made stuff, and to keep us under control, really, and to keep us away from our true potential. So totally in agreement with that, with you.
About like what it is like just to have such a profound like planet filled with like the opposite of everything that you would expect.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what I get the feeling of about that. It had to be like that for us to have such a rapid conscious density shift, literally.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
There had to have been a potential that was oppositely opposing benevolence for benevolence to restore itself rapidly.
That, man, what you're saying is profound, and it's something that it's hard to get across to people that don't see it yet. But I totally see what you're saying. That's why I tell people to just observe and watch it all play out, because we needed everything is just as it was supposed to be. And people say, well, what about this? What about that? I'm like, yeah, even that. I mean, how can you have something that smells so wonderful if you don't have something that smells like crap? You know what I mean? So
yeah, I totally get you. It's just a matter of not complaining before you get good enough at what you practice.
Yeah, and to keep yourself from getting sucked into all of the negative stuff, and because it can actually pull you down. You can get so focused on the negative that it actually gets you into the negative, and it's like, just observe, watch it all play out, love everybody, even the villains in the story, because at the end of the day, we're all going to come out on stage, everyone's going to bow, and for playing their part well, you know what I mean?
Oh yes. We are all here because we are essential. It wouldn't be the same in a literal sense if we were not all here the way we are. And about about that type of excitement that drives practice, if you're seeking truth and it is actually going to help you and help everyone to better their stance of their self-definition of their being, then it's going to be intuitively resonant as truth, and the excitement and the practice and everything is going to become intuitively, noticeably perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good
And
point.
it's just a matter of being patient.
Yeah, being patient and getting that higher perspective where you're looking down on. Someone's asking what your name is in the chat. Are you chatting in the chat?
Yeah, Mr. Flying Snake.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know your name. Mr. Flying Snake. I saw you earlier chatting. Yeah, and I've read your comments and stuff.
I really like to chat, and I'm across many different channels. But anyway, it's like the way that we get to be excited is sometimes by finding out what does not excite us directly, and then we now know directly what will excite us in a profound way.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's very nice. Everybody's talking about ECETI. I'm looking at it going across there. Are you going to, do you think you can make it out on New Year's in Austin, Texas? Or is it
ECETI?
Well, we're planning on ECETI next year, when it's a little bit, probably spring or summer next year. But we are doing a get-together in Austin, Texas on New Year's, the weekend before New Year's and New Year's Day.
Well, that sounds exciting, too. I would consider that.
Yeah, definitely, man. The more the merrier. And sounds like you'd be right in the company, the right company, you know what I mean?
Yeah, before I just, I guess maybe we'll move on. I guess, like, let's just talk, like, literal phenomena, because I have a lot of that, too.
Mm-hmm.
There's everything gonna, the way when we talk about the shift, we don't understand, I think, enough of how everything is going to change in this similar direction of unity, consciousness, and benevolence. You see, so like the way that it is, the way that our perspectives are changing on things that we think are phenomena or magical may not be magical for someone ahead of us, and may be magical for someone behind us. You know, if you get this type of like what you're more comfortable with on your experience of like profound.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah, it depends where you are as to whether it's magic or science or just the way it is or the way it's always been. Because it's new. It's like the Mandela effect. For some people, it's brand new. They're just now noticing reality changing, while other people are like, I'm glad you guys finally noticed. I've been noticing for decades. And, you know, it's not magical to those people because it's always been that way. But for us that's just now noticing in the last couple of years, we're like, what the heck?
I think it's like you said, in a way, when we play with new perspectives, we can assist many people in doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and then it's... Sorry? Go ahead.
I was just going to say, and to sort of speak to them with the terminology they're comfortable with. So if you know they're coming from a religious worldview or New Age or just metaphysical in general, to... You know, I that's something I try to do with bridging the gap, because I think a lot of times people are all talking about the same thing. You know, some people call it rapture, some people call it ascension, some people just call it's just spiritual human evolution. And I think in a way, you know, they might describe it differently, but it's all talking about the same journey we're on, I feel like.
It's definitely essential for all of us. If we're here, then it means it's essential for us to be here.
Yeah, part of our journey.
And I don't mean to invoke like whatever an emphasis of like like lack of excitement or lack of fulfillment. Like that's not meant to be. It is and it isn't, and it's as fast as you're willing to change it that it will change.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
That's what it means when you say like divinity, like meant, or like something is divinely meant to be. It's because of its perfection and its wholeness and its benefit and its worth, its value of existence. Like it is that profound. It's not ego in any way.
Yeah. Yeah, I see what you mean. And that is sort of part of rising above the duality that we experience and getting that broader perspective of it. And it's because that's what religion does in a sense. It gives you this 3D perspective that it's good or it's bad, or just in general, there's things you shouldn't do. Don't do this, or you need to do that. There's a formula to follow to get there, and it really isn't like that at all once you can rise above that and realize it's all about experiencing this journey we're on and just keeping that forward momentum going on that journey.
Even just to like invoke momentum, like a sort of like continual flow or whatever, like dynamic, like whatever movement, like that means there is a change. And if your life feels stagnant, then you know you have something that is not aligned with what you see to be the best, which is some profound change, some embark journey on divinity, like you embarking on a journey on divinity with everyone.
Yeah, I like that unity.
Well, this has been great, Shane. I think I'll move on to another caller.
Well, I appreciate you calling in, Jacob, and sharing your experiences with the light language and everything. And it's nice to hear someone's perspective that started doing it without the Pentecostal background or whatever. Because I knew there was people that do it that never stepped foot in a church, and a lot of them, I've seen them, like, oh, you sound like you're speaking in tongues. No, it's different, and they're adamant about it being different. But I see that as just the confusion of connecting the religion with the, attaching religion to something that's bigger than man-made religion,
Just like you can't empower yourself by any label, you can't hide underneath any label.
Yeah. Yeah, totally true.
Also, so about the light language, which I'm now inclined to call love light language, just for that balance, which we know can always be there.
Yeah, I like that.
We can always call it something better. And everything is always speaking interconnectedly, like simultaneously, like always relevant. Like that's the type of unity oneness. So like even just calling something love chat, or love light chat, or light language, or love light language, or light worker, or love light worker, even just that balance and that improvement that is so obvious.
Yeah.
The fact that we don't make that change, or the fact that we make that change, says a lot about our initiative.
Yeah. Well, I specifically made that change because people were saying that, the evil is the enlightened Luciferians, and they're the light. And I'm like, well, you've got to have the balance of having the love and the light. So I'm going to start saying love light workers. I try to at least set people's mind at ease on certain things, because some people are dead set on the fact that I'm possessed by the devil, and it's just religion, and I understand that. So I'm patient with their views, but at the same time, I like to remove any doubt.
Yeah, that means not giving them attention by considering it in an excessive way, which means like not burdening it, not letting it burden you in any way.
Oh yeah. I always look at it as a challenge.
You look at it as a challenge when people throw judgments at us?
Oh yeah, man. It's like that's why I always talk about they're like are you going to be triggered, or are you going to handle it with love? And it's little tests that you come into throughout the day, whether it's someone who cuts you off in traffic, or whatever. So yeah, I look at it as a challenge to see, hey, are you going to be able to respond with love, or are you going to be triggered and, call them names and respond in a 3D sort of way. So, and I think just I'm a gamer at heart, so I look at it as a game a lot of times,
Yeah, what I was going to say is that you can be triggered with love, so it's not a challenge, it's an opportunity.
That's a good point, yeah.
I just feel, and not like everyone's own perception is perfect, but everyone's own perception is always changing.
Yeah.
And not to necessarily think of anything ever opposing you, the benevolence of, all that is one being.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't say that. I say that lightheartedly. I don't say that lightly.
Mm-hmm.
We can very experientially know the oneness with the one being that is all of us,
Right.
or we can cast out.
Yeah, totally. Well,
By the way, one more thing. Sorry, love light language.
Mm-hmm.
It felt musically intuitive to me. I felt vocally musical. It felt playful. It felt like how the kids ahead of me, or how even I was able to learn to play energetically with crystals. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's an energy. It's one energy field, and it's all beautifully derivative in that sense. So don't
Yeah.
get hung up on the derivation.
Right.
And what I mean by that is, if you do divine or divinate yourself with like intuitive language, then don't get hung up with the derivation.
I think that's sort of a problem in many aspects, isn't it?
The need to collapse the possibility of your energy linguistics down to a derivation.
Yeah. Well, I just mean just in general with everything, the way religion seems to have us scared to think outside the box or to judge others for doing something differently than we do it, and to just, I don't know, just to let it be and not to overthink it, like you were saying in the beginning of the call.
Or have us to be open to novelty.
Yeah.
And that's the like language. It's like you're being opened up, really energetically. You can access more of yourself.
Yeah. It's a lot like doing any other art, whether it's music or painting, or, there's that intuitive painting where you're just sort of creating something abstract out of your feelings, but you're not really trying to paint anything, specific. Yeah.
It's a good sense. Art is a good sense of flow, and flow is like a literal, energetic experience.
Mm-hmm.
We are not limited by anyone else's perspective. Our uniqueness is to benefit everyone. So it's that super dense love light that we are, that is somewhat rare to this planet, but infinitely abundant. And we know this feeling internally, and we can manifest it. We are already in the easier stages. I can know this of the darker ending of the swan song. I've heard it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
This is the end of the darkness swan song, and we're already in the easiest or easier portion of that.
Totally. Very enlightened conversation, Jacob. I really appreciate you calling in, my friend.
All right. Yes. Excellent show. I think we are all so potentially changed in a more profound way than we already are. And namaste to everyone listening, ahead of us, behind us, at the current moment with us. It's all simultaneous.
Yep. Lots of love to you,
Okay.
brother. I appreciate
Goodbye.
the call. Okay, bye-bye. All right, let's see. We got one more before we call her a night. This is Shane. I have you as GP showing up here.
Yo, how's it going, Shane?
How's it going? Who am I talking to?
My name's German. Pronounced Herman.
Herman. Okay.
Yep. Good hearing you, Shane, and everybody else listening. Much love to all.
Yeah, man. Good to have you here with us. Let me get your name up here. So, let's see here. All right, I got you up, man. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Indianapolis, Indiana.
Ah, nice.
Yep. So, I'll be honest, this is my first time on the call and even on the show, so I'm just like pretty excited to be on.
Oh, excited to have you, brother.
Thank you. I found you guys' channel. My father suggested I read the I Am discourses, and you were the best narrator for it, so I studied the discourses. Started studying them about a month or two ago, and they've definitely transformed how I carry myself day by day.
Yeah, man. They were revolutionary for me. I mean, they really transformed. I used to hit these lows where I'd get impatient about, when's this event coming, or when's things going to change. And then I realized after I did that, just for those who's listening and you haven't heard, I've got a playlist for the I Am Discourse by Saint Germain, and it is so powerful when you realize that everything is within your own control. The world, you don't have to be a part of the chaos out there. You can really take control of your own world with the whole I Am proclamations. And so it was powerful for you.
Definitely. Like as you say, like what it made me realize is that it might be kind of weird, but this is what I learned from it. Basically, that nothing happens unless you let it happen, and
Mhm.
whatever's happening out there is not. We're pretty much in full control of anything and everything we experience. So that's how, like, I'm just taking, how can I say it? I'm still taking notes. Like I listen to them and then I take some notes and then listen again. So right now, what I've gotten from it is just basically making sure that basically what I learned from it is that everybody's the same thing, just different bodies
Yeah.
and living different experiences. So if you can tap into that love for everyone and everything, anything is possible.
Yeah, and we have a sovereignty to our beingness that we can. Many of us don't take up the reins of our reality and take control of it and realize that, our experience. I think about it. I had this instance. It was sort of my awakening where I was in the shower and somebody turned the water on in the other room, and the water got really cold really fast, and it did this dance around. And I realized that, someone else made me angry at that moment, but they had no
Yeah.
idea they made me angry. And then I took this third person point of view and thought about how funny I must have looked when that water turned cold and I'm like dancing around in the shower trying to get away from it. And, I just had this moment of enlightenment where I'm like, wow, how did something go from making me angry to making me laugh? And you can always take that step back and
Hmm.
out of the situation and sort of take this third person perspective and not be so mixed in with all the chaos.
Yeah, and basically, like, after reading those, what I do now, like, I look at my life as like a movie per se. Like, everybody's just acting. Everybody's just an actor, and they might sound like a joke, but really we perform action, so we're acting every day. So if we want to act sick, we're gonna stay manifesting sickness, whether it's in finance or health or just somebody saying they're bored, because there's
Yeah.
always something to do. Yeah.
Yeah, that's totally true. How often do we say, "Oh, I'm sick. I don't feel good," and we're proclaiming the opposite of what we should be doing. And it really
Yeah.
does work when you start switching that into. It's almost that whole half glass empty, half glass full perspective where you either look at things as optimistic and that you have control over it, or that you're just getting tossed about in the world and everything's pessimistic. Things are never going to change, and it's our outlook that really does shape how we experience our reality.
Yep. And like I like ever since that, like anytime I like proclaim something, or what, as we say in the discourses,
Yeah.
start precipitating things. Like I was at the paint store the other day, at a home improvement store called Menards, getting some paint, and it's kind of hard to believe what the colors look like because
Hmm.
you're indoor light, so one color is gonna look different out in the sun, and then in a
Yeah.
different room. I was with my buddy and I suggested, I was like, I want to invent a store, or what if we could just have people splatter paint onto a wall so they could see the true color, because the little samples aren't that much, just to get an idea of how the color would look on a wall. And then I just said that and never thought about it again. They didn't say, oh, but that'd be dumb or that'd be awesome. I just mentioned it. And then after I got my paint mixed, I was just walking, and I got a little careless checking my phone and dropped a gallon of paint on the ground, and it spilled everywhere, just as I had suggested at first.
Oh man.
A huge puddle of the color. And I was like, and my friend was like, you were just talking about this. There you go. And I was like, "Dang."
Synchronicity. Yeah. Sometimes they don't come in the way we like, huh?
The store employees were all like tragic, like ran over there, asked if I was all right, got anything on my shoe, and I didn't care. I was just laughing. 'Cause I was like, I was just talking about this.
Yeah, that's
And
awesome.
yeah, events like that, and then basically, like I could say I'm becoming more telepathic as well. Like I'll just think of somebody, and they'll message me, or because like one of the guys I work with, he was running late, but all I did was just in my mind like, nah, he'll show up soon. And about 2 minutes later, he was at the project we're working at. He popped up as soon as you. What I've noticed also is like, when you want, like, if you say I want to see a red dog, and you don't start putting all the, but it's so rare to find a red dog, or oh, I don't think I'll ever find. If you just say it, you're gonna find that red dog.
Oh yeah.
Like, you can't put excuses or hows. Just what is it that you want?
Yeah.
We get so stuck with that timeline, and time being a thing. We want to set up like, oh, it can't happen right away. I need to do this point A, and then from point A to B, then from B to C, and then I'll get to D. Why not just from point A to D?
Yeah. And that's another thing I think we do as humans, is if we're trying to manifest or precipitate something in a way that is, we want to sort of come up with a blueprint for the whole plan, rather than just thinking about the end result that we're trying to do and trusting that it's going to get handled. We don't have to know how. You know what I mean?
Yep. Because the how is basically already happened. It already happened in the dimension of our mind, our mind's eye. It already occurred.
Yeah.
So we're just so stuck in that. I don't know if you're familiar with like the Abraham Hicks stuff. Basically, this physical and physical reality, and then we don't want it to be. We want it in our physical reality, but won't let it be the vibration of it in our vortex, as they call it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Totally.
So,
yeah, I like Abraham Hicks.
Yeah.
Esther. Yeah.
Yep.
Good stuff. Yeah, there's
like,
a lot of great sources like that. What's the other guy? I enjoy him too. There's like.
I'm not sure. Have you heard of Neville Goddard? He talks about the imagination a lot.
Oh yeah, yeah. So did you, on that final I Am discourse? I had a link to a website that had a lot of his stuff on there too, and they've got a YouTube channel. Yeah. Yeah, that's good stuff. You said you found a whole.
Are you familiar with? Yeah, I got a lot of books out there. It kind of cut out a little bit for a second. My connection kind of messed up.
Yeah.
I didn't hear. But have you heard? Are you familiar with Robert A. Russell?
Man, that name sounds familiar. I can't place it though.
Oh, okay. He's written a lot of books. Like one is called "Talk Yourself Into It," and another is "Talk Yourself Out of It." And they're pretty similar to the discourses, and just basically the whole idea of using the imagination, meaning like basically it's another dimension we live in. So if we just imagine and visualize, it can come into our reality, and that's how everything we see and see was first imagined. It starts in somebody's mind.
Yeah, totally.
Nothing just popped. So that's what I've learned, and I'm only like 21 years old, so I haven't been able to express these thoughts with my friends or anything, because they'll think I'm like crazy, you know. So finally good to speak community about how we know what we see.
Well, Indiana, that's not too far from Texas, is it? That'd be cool if you could join us for New Year's.
Oh, definitely. Let me get some more info on that, and I'll definitely, because I'm moving to California in about a week. So I'm gonna have a big move, and then so Texas will be a little closer than Indiana. I'll catch a flight over there and be with you guys.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah, you can just email me through the website. It's got my actual email address on there or contact page, and just put Austin in the subject line, and I will keep everyone apprised of the details, because we found a venue and everything. We're just working out the details, so it's real early on. We do know it's going to be on New Year's Day, or New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, and which is Monday and Tuesday, and people can come out early on Saturday and Sunday, and we're gonna have drum circles and healings, and just just have a time together. So it's gonna be cool to just meet people and be able to have conversations like this without people thinking you're crazy. So
it's awesome.
Yeah, that was probably the best part of going to Sedona, is having conversations that we'd go out to eat or just be at the place and just having a conversation face to face with someone, and no one else. That was the first time I've had anything like that. I mean, because I have online with you guys and in the chat and stuff like that, but to be able to talk to someone face to face, it was a cool experience. So
awesome. I see somebody, Frank T, saying he's in Northern California. It's pretty awesome, my brother.
Yeah, I got to meet Frank actually in Sedona, which was awesome. He was one of the people I got to talk to face about some of this crazy stuff that people would think is crazy. So, yeah. So, man, 21. Are you? So you don't really know anybody? See, because I come across young people, and I'm really blown away at how much they can. Like, I mean, at your age, 21, I would have loved to have the knowledge you have right now.
Oh, yeah. I think like you were talking with Jacob earlier about like somebody's purpose and how he believes like we're all here to achieve something.
Mm-hmm.
And like I think is to like just like basically what you do. I want to one day like have a whole streaming and like just spread the word to younger people, not just people that, because some people have a bad idea about this, maybe call it a cult, but it's because they don't understand words or how words even started and what stuff means. Over the years they've just like started to mean other things. People just resonate with other things and give it bad consonants, or I don't forget what it's called. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's totally cool. So yeah, I think more and more we're gonna connect with other people that are awake and aware. So
yeah.
Oh, synchronicities. You say you pronounce your name Herman?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Not so fancy Nancy was saying, wow, synchronicities.
Yeah, my dad was gonna name me Jermaine, but my mom didn't like it, so he opted out from the I.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
But that's cool. Yeah. You get the connection with Saint Germain now that you wouldn't have had just knowing that,
Yep.
Yeah, and I totally I agree with you about people. Because I did it before when I was heavy into religion. I'm like, oh, those are the, New Agers or the occult or whatever, because when you don't understand something and church programs you to fear anything that's not like you, it's, or that God to get you, God's going to get you if you go out on that limb. But if you're really going out on a limb to find a deeper relationship with God, is he really going to break it off and burn you forever? I mean, it's ridiculous once you really look at it. You're like, that's ridiculous. I'd never burn my kid. I'd never send my kid to the corner forever. You know what I mean? I mean, and that's not even torture. That's just sending them to the corner. Like, go to the corner forever. You know what I mean? It's just so ridiculous to think that something would create you. It loves you, but it's going to burn you forever if you make the wrong mistake, One
of the people that I deal with like that every single day is my mom. She's a very, very like the devout Christian, and I always try to I tell her, I was like, you should read a little bit more into the Bible and give it more of a don't take it so literally and more metaphorically. And she just yells at me, you don't know what you're talking about, all typical typical mechanisms they use to defend themselves. But I get it from her every day.
Yeah, I'm really thankful that I was taught to go out and spread the good news of the gospel, which now that I think of what what they mean by the gospel. The good news is that people are going to burn in hell forever if they don't do what you're saying. I'm like, well, that's not really good news, is it? Is this what Jesus was really wanting us to go around and do? But
Yeah.
I asked myself those tough questions. I researched them because I'm like, I'm not going to go out and try to sell this to anybody else until I at least understand it well enough to defend it and give, good reasons for why I believe what I believe. And that,
Yeah.
because I was forced to go out, they try to teach me to go out and proselytize. I was forced to really dive deep into it and learn. And that got me out of the church and got me out of the man-made beliefs of the whole thing. So I'm thankful for that. And I think anybody can find their way out of the church with the Bible if, like what you were saying, they just look at it a little more metaphorically, or I can't think of the word I'm groping for right now, but just really focus on Jesus's words, because a lot of what the church teaches, they always go to Paul's writings, and a lot of them contradict what Jesus is saying from the church's standpoint, doctrinal standpoint.
Indeed.
Well, Herman, I really appreciate you calling in. You got to hook up with Frank T when you get up there. He's a great guy, and you already know you got some friends. Frank T, he was in the chat. He's in Northern California. Is that where you're headed? Or are you going to Southern?
Yeah, I'm heading real close. I'll be in the Central Valley, so all of that's very, very close. So it's
awesome.
better. Even if it's 3 hours, I'd still love to connect with him. You know, it's always better than having meaningless conversations. It's best to connect with good people.
Yeah, and the video I did of Sedona Atsko, she's from Southern California. So I do know I have some viewers out in California even. Oh, I can't even think of her name. She works in Silicon Valley. I'm sorry, I forget. She sent me some cool stuff, and her name's just escaping me right now. But I do know that there's quite a few people in California. So that's why I want to do these meetups, because people can meet in real, just have a get-together, even if it's at a Starbucks in your city, and just make these connections and chat for a while, because it is a great experience to go face-to-face with people and have a conversation with them.
Yep. Because I'm honestly going to go over there. I'm throwing myself over there as a new, I'm only going for my I might get personal real quick, but my girlfriend decided to move over there without she just decided to move. So now I'm just going to go, because I don't want to go through any court stuff to have her bring my child back. So I'm just going to go do my thing. If I can get a place, I'll have a place for them. But right now it's just me working and becoming the best version of myself, because if I'm not a good me, how can I be a good for them, Yeah. And there's no breakup, but it's just basically just another level for my life, an upgrade. And with all these energies that we've been seeing the past few days, I've definitely felt them and a lot of symptoms. So I see it's just a level up, a new form of myself for everybody, and everybody else is probably going through similar things.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. And if you can't make it, because I know it's still going to be quite a ways all the way to Texas from California, but we're planning on ECETI next year, because
Awesome.
I can't believe this year's almost over. But
I'll definitely go over to Texas, because like I said, I want to do a lot of traveling starting now, and if I can do it with a group like you guys, it'd be even more worth it.
Oh, definitely, man, and we'd love to have you.
Yes, sir. So once again, thank you for having me. Much love to everybody, and thank you, Shane.
All right, Herman, thank you so much for calling in, man, and I will talk to you later. Much love to you. Like to love and
All
love.
right, much love, everybody.
All righty, bye-bye, buddy.
Bye.
Awesome. That is going to round out our show, but I am so excited I can't tell you how excited I am about this Austin event. I talked to my friend that's going to be hosting it on her property earlier today, and we talked for almost a couple hours or something, and a wonderful conversation. We discussed all the fun things we can do amongst a bunch of other things, but I think it's going to be powerful. I think she's a healer, and she's experienced many healing miracles, most of us would call them, and I think just coming together like that, and it's going to be, I think a lot of times what you see is people get activated with their own gifts that they didn't know that they had, and it's going to be huge. I can already feel it's going to be a special time that is going to, it's going to activate us, connect us better. That connection will last once we leave and go back home, and I like to continue this as we move forward. So lots of love and light to each and every one of you guys. And yeah, I was demonetized. I think my AdSense, they told me my AdSense account expired because of inactivity, and I'm like, what are you talking about? I use it every month with, I don't know. They just came up with some weird excuse and said I can check back in a month to see if I qualify. So I'm not letting it get me down. I found out right before I left for Sedona, and I just had to smile. I'm like, are you kidding me? You think I'm going to get upset about this? I'm headed to Sedona, and a lot of the generosity comes through PayPal anyway, so I'm not going to trip off of it one bit. So lots of love and light to each and every one of you, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one. If you'd like to support the work I do, go to paypal.me/UOTF. Thanks.